What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Wisco Madman here with Jessie B. We're gonna have the country girl hang out and get to know Jessie. So Jessie, I guess I'll just kind of start off with asking you where you're from and kind of going from there.
Where I'm from. So I'm from all over the place, dude. No, I'm originally. So it's funny because the song that you played, the remix that I did of Cheatham, it's
Mhm.
about Tillman, which is where I grew up at. Um,
Okay.
Parents divorced when I was young, so I was in between South Carolina and North Carolina. I lived in Charlotte
Oh,
for
got you.
some time,
I
and
thought I caught that. I forget which one it was, but I thought I caught Carolina. I was like, wait a second.
mhm. I claim both of them because it's just like half of my life I spent with my dad in South Carolina, half of it I spent in North Carolina, and so I just say Carolina.
Oh, we lost you for a second here. Okay. I think we got you back. Do we got audio? Nope. Now you're muted. You're muted on the StreamYard end. You're still muted on the StreamYard end. Jesse, can you hear me? Nod your head if you can hear me. There's a mute button on there. Here, hold on. Let me do a quick. I'll do a screenshot. I'll show you. Give me 1 second here. Are you on? Well, there's a back chat too. You're on your phone, aren't you? So if you're on your phone, right at the bottom of the screen, there's a stop cam and there's a mute button for your mic. Just click that. Or try to come out and come back in. I can always add you back too. Hang on a second, guys. No big deal. It's StreamYard. It's kind of a pain in the butt on the phone, to be honest. So, not that big of a deal. But we'll get it going. I got to get this shirt out anyway. So, while we wait for her to come back in, I will create that post. There she is.
Bro,
There you go. I told you,
let
just
me
go
just
out
explain
and come
what
back
that
in.
was. Dude. So I'm dog sitting.
I already know. I've done StreamYard from my phone, so it's a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime somebody calls me, I was like, okay, well, she only really calls me when there's like an emergency. And I'm like,
Right.
oh God. So I was like, hey, I answered it. I was like, hey, I'm in a live stream. I gotta go. And then she's like telling me all this stuff. I need to go check the pool. And I'm like, oh God. So I was like, let me just take the mic off for a second.
I figured you might have been on the phone, but I was like, I don't know. And so your phone auto muted the stream. That's awesome.
Oh, dude.
At least it's good for you, so it doesn't go to the stream. Hell yeah.
So they don't quite get it. So like they've
oh no, nobody gets it.
They've heard my music. They don't really like the cussing and stuff like that, which I get it.
Right.
It's like,
yeah.
I was like, hey,
I was brought up the same way. I get it.
I was like, I'm literally in a live stream. I will check on the pool as soon as I can. I gotta go. But, oh God, that's real life.
Non-formal though. Like, hey, yeah. Like I said, it's chill. I mean, half of my streams, these guys already know. Anybody who's here from my end, like, I start whenever. Like, I'll be like, I need to start at 5, and I'm like, 5:15. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I forgot. Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, it's not even so much forgot. I know what I got, but I'm like trying to get 300 things done before I go live. It's like always crunch time right before I go live.
Oh, it's definitely me. I
But,
always forget. I'll be like, oh my God, they're supposed to be here at this time. Or like with this live stream, dude, I'm like, bruh, I thought it was yesterday and I was like, okay, it's on Sunday. And
what
I
up,
thought it was at
Deacon?
5. So I got all ready and I was like, all right, I'm sitting here and at 5 o'clock. And then you were going live and I was like, great. So I get maybe he's going like live right before we go live. And then you said, yeah, so it's going to be about another 2 hours. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, I did it again. So,
dude, chime changes too, though. Like,
yeah.
I get that because you got Eastern time, I got Mountain time. You know, that's a struggle with this too. And like when I set up interviews, I usually take it on myself because I'm just like, I'm used to it. I traveled most of my life, so I'm so used to swapping time zones. But
yeah. Oh, see, I'm not. Shoot, the furthest I've been, I went to Nashville, and then I went to, Georgia area to visit some family. I don't go. I think I've been to Virginia once. Like
right.
I don't get out enough.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
But
I can kind of relate to you a little bit on that. Like, I'm a kid of divorce too. Like, my parents divorced when I was 12, so I feel you on that. Matter of fact, Virginia, that's where my mom lives.
Okay, wow.
Don't really stay in contact too much more anymore, but she's DC, Virginia. So
okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, it's so both Carolinas, you were saying.
Both Carolinas, I claim them both. I prefer South Carolina just because I feel like they divorced when I was really young. When I was like 5, and so I feel like because of that, I mean, it's nobody's fault, but I really lost out on an opportunity to grow up, really truly getting that experience to grow up there, and so that's why I hold it so close to like my heart, and I rap about it in a lot of my songs, and I filmed something different back at my dad's, which he's moved from the property I grew up on since then, but it's still in the relative area. And there's something about it. There's just something about being in that area, something about, driving down the same roads you drove down when you were a kid. And that's where a lot of the, I guess, inspiration for a lot of the songs, like the Low Country song that's on there, Dirt Road Living, the Tillman remix that I did. So. But yeah,
dude, I'm not gonna lie. I love Josh Turner and his Low Country shit. That's
right.
Dope. I need to listen to more of him. I listen to so much different music that it's like there'll be artists that I absolutely love, like Josh Turner, and I haven't listened to him in like 6 months, but it'll come back around in the rotation. Like, especially when I'm doing reactions, I'm listening to so much of this kind of stuff, So
yeah, you said I could tell that you have a range of like musical taste because you caught the T.I. Reference in my song earlier, and then you also, now that you're even saying that, like most people don't know about that Low Country song. Like I share it with everybody because I'm like, yo, this is like Josh Turner talking about our hometown, and they're like, well, what is that?
Yucky was just teaching me. I did a hangout with Yucky Banks, if you know who that is, but he spent a lot of time in Atlanta or grew up in Atlanta, and he was teaching me all kinds of shit about Atlanta that I had no idea. Like before I talked to him, I had zero desire to go to Atlanta at all. Like none, because I've already been to like New York and a lot of other big cities, but New York specifically is a great exaggeration point. Can't stand it. I don't do it. I don't even really like Denver that much anymore. I still have love for the city, don't get me wrong. Like, and I'm not going away from Colorado, but I'm like, I want to go to the mountains. I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah, I would love to see Colorado. Like, I would love to see the mountains out there. And like, I love, one of my biggest dreams is to go hunting for mule deer out in that area. Like mule deer are.
That's interesting.
Yeah, out here they're little compared. I mean,
you'd probably have a really good chance of getting a tag for a mule deer here versus like coming here to try to get an out-of-state tag for elk. That's next to it. It's impossible for locals to get elk.
Nah, you're not even from here, dog. Go back here.
Right? No, they have a whole point system.
We both took a sip.
You probably know more about that shit than I do. But
honestly, I know more about
I haven't gotten into hunting yet. I grew up fishing.
See,
but
I grew up more fishing. And I'm gonna. I want to go ahead and apologize if I cut you off because sometimes you'll talk and then I'll say something. I'll be like, wait.
I do the same thing.
Okay. So you'll
I
probably
talk
hear
a
a
lot,
lot
so
of
it
like,
happens.
yeah, you'll probably hear a lot of like, oh sorry.
No, you good.
But yeah, no, I've hunted a little bit, but I'm obsessed with fishing. Like, and that's what PB is about. And I guess that's another thing I wanted to make clear and part of like being on this live stream is because there's a lot of questions about the album, specifically PB, and people don't know what that means. But I'll explain that in a second. But fishing is like my life, and a lot of people don't know this. Before I started music, I actually wanted to have a fishing YouTube channel. And so some of the videos you'll see on there, I have like a vlog. It's my most viewed video. It's got like 22,000 views. But it's a fishing video I did with my dad out on Santee Cooper Lake. And so in high school, I did bass fishing tournaments, and then a little bit in college. I actually dropped out of college. And but that was one of the most craziest experiences I've ever had. Especially being around a bunch of dudes, like they don't take girls seriously, I guess, in that realm. And so it was really fun to kind of whoop their asses and stuff like that in competitions. And so anyway, I got more into vlogs and doing that stuff when I dropped out of college. And then I want to say, gosh, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was singing karaoke with my dad or something. And I'm singing the song. I close my eyes a lot because sometimes I'll get nervous. And so if I just close my eyes and sing it. And I was singing in front of my dad. It was just me and him. And I opened my eyes and he was like bawling. And he was like, you know, you got to do something with this. And I did the same thing. We went to my aunt's house. We went fishing in Tennessee. I want to say it was called the Chickamauga Lake. And my Uncle Barry took us out there and we're fishing and whatnot. And then we had karaoke night again. And my Aunt Sherry started crying too. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just get so nervous in front of people. And so finally I started growing into it. And that's when I was like, maybe I could do rap. You know, maybe I could do this. And sure enough, here we are now. But it all started with fishing. I like to tell people it all started with fishing.
That's dope.
But I'll say this and then I'm going to shut up because I know I talk so much. PB, for those who don't know, if you've listened to the album, PB stands for personal best. It's a term a lot of us use in like the bass fishing community. Like, so for example, my PB bass, I would say, is a 6-pounder is my PB bass. That's my personal best. That's the biggest bass I've ever caught. And so that's kind of what PB means because people are like, what does this mean? I don't get it, but I know it's about fishing, but I don't know what that word means. But I thought I'd just throw that in.
So I'll riff off that and just say I can't compete by any means. I don't know what my weight is, but what I can say is I know my biggest fish I ever had happened to be a largemouth bass, actually.
There you go.
And I think it was, well, this was when I was back fishing with my dad yet. I haven't caught jack shit out here, really. A couple trout and stuff like that. But I honestly don't go out enough to be completely transparent. But 16-incher, dude. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's like... But
we
have these guys in Wisconsin. What's that?
I said it would still qualify for some of the smaller tournaments that I did in high school.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you good. For the most part, and I understand it's probably how you're raised and stuff like that. You're worried about interrupting and shit, which I mean, that's how I was raised too. But you ain't gotta worry about that here. If you start talking, I'll pause where I'm at, or I might, have a point to continue going. But I just riff in conversation.
Just talk over me.
Like I talk just as much as you do. So probably beat you on that, to be completely honest. But yeah. So yeah, fishing's what I grew up doing with my dad. I didn't get to go into hunting a whole lot, but I really want to get into it here. I always wanted to growing up too, but like I got my 308 now and stuff because that was the one gun that I decided to build because I can actually hunt elk with that. Whereas if I built the 223 first, it's like, what are you going to shoot with that? Small game, maybe.
Well, if you ever have a zombie apocalypse, man, you're set. If you get a 223.
Right. Hey, if I ever have to defend the house with 308, the entire apartment complex is going to know it.
Yeah.
That thing's so freaking loud. The
That's
one
gonna be
test
like
shot I did, I forgot to throw my earplugs in, and I'm not kidding you. I had a 5-minute ring after that one. I was like, oh God.
Jeez. Yeah, your 308 going off is gonna be the siren to let everybody know that there's an apocalypse.
Right. Like,
Oh,
guys
dude.
might want to load up. Everybody's gonna be like, shit, I need a gun. Because I
Well, we
live
know
in
where one's
Denver,
at,
so
just
it's
listen.
like we're still on the liberal end. Half the people, it's
Oh,
funny
really?
because I go talk to like the gun shop people,
Yeah.
5280 Armory down south, and I've talked to the owners several times, and it's funny, like post 2020 talking to them, he's like, dude, I got like bought out 3 times. He's like, because all these people that didn't know anything about guns came in and they're like, well, what about this caliber? And what about this? And what about that? What about, they're like
Okay,
asking all these
so-
questions because they were terrified.
Yes, so I used to work at a gun store called Mace Sports here in Mebane.
Yeah.
And when I came in, they were telling me like, yeah, the season has just kind of like dropped off and it's been a little slower, but Black Friday is like our biggest day. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, like what did the traffic look like before? And he said ever since the stuff with gosh, what was it? What was the guy? It was like a huge thing. Something Floyd. I can't remember.
George Floyd.
George
Yep.
Floyd. Okay, ever since that happened, people were buying guns like crazy. And like you said,
Yeah.
people who weren't familiar with firearms. And they're coming in.
Well, I think
and
it was a
asking-
combination. So
Yeah.
I think that was between the riots that happened, the protests that happened, and then which a lot of people don't realize the amount of riots that actually happened.
Yeah.
Because see, the news didn't want to cover the bad portion of the protests, which
Yeah.
was plenty. I seen it firsthand. And heard tear gas going off. At the time I had a 3rd-story apartment. I could hear the shit going off from 10 miles away.
That's
It was
scary.
like a fucking war zone down in Denver. It was crazy, dude.
That's cool.
But anyway, so it was a combination between that and being locked down. So like when people started losing their rights, they were like, oh, you know, like we need guns. We realized that that's the only thing that's
like,
going
oh
to
yeah,
stop.
liberty and
Yeah.
like, rights matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So
Oh, yeah.
Blue Collar Queen says deep sea fishing is so much fun. I can honestly
I'd love
say
to do
I've
more of
never
that.
actually gotten a
I
chance
would
to do
love
that.
to do more of that. Like I've gone on one charter. This is a while back. I've gone on one charter and it was a freaking blast. Okay, trolling. Like if you ever get an opportunity to go deep sea fishing, like on a charter, it is so much fun.
The only thing I did get to do to that extent is a shrimp boat down in Louisiana
Oh yeah, there you go.
or Mississippi. I think it might have been, but
I bet that was blast. I would like. You said you had caught like trout. I've never caught trout before. I've never
yeah,
caught.
that's a lot of what we catch here: trout and bass.
Yeah.
I haven't caught a bass yet, but I caught a couple brown trout.
We have we've got bass. We've got what we call around here. It's called shell cracker, but it's kind of like it's called a red ear sunfish, I believe, is like the actual term there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've got bluegill. There's a couple other ones like mudfish and stuff like that, but we don't have anything like that. Catfish.
I miss the fishing from Wisconsin. What I grew up with in Wisconsin. Now you might get skunked here or there, but for the most part, like when you grow up in the area and you know all the lakes and you don't have the population that we have here,
Mhm.
they don't have to stock all the time. Here, they literally fishing's almost not as fun in my head here because they have to restock almost, I think, monthly.
Really?
And literally what you're catching is what they put in.
Oh, so it doesn't get bigger than
It's not self-sustaining. So you'll get
that's
some
tough.
bigger, like the trout I got was about this big or so. So it was decent.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, like huge fillets or anything like that. Like honestly, I smoked it and let it fall off the bone because that was the recommendation to me because all the small bones in a brown trout, you can't just fillet it. Not to mention, I never actually learned to fillet myself when I was a kid. So my dad used to do all the fillets and I did the scaling. So coming here, number one, when I do get to like bass and stuff like that, I'll have to learn. So I'll butcher a couple.
Yeah.
And then Trout, I just smoked it and then pulled it off the bone, so it slid off the rib
That
cage
sounds
and
so
shit
good.
like that.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't, because if you try to fillet it, you'll cut so many of them small bones that you'll just be picking
And you'll
bones,
be
you know.
picking it out the entire time you're eating. You can't even enjoy it.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could do more. That northern pike is something I would like to try and catch, but my biggest like on my bucket list in way of fishing is I want to go down to Florida and catch a peacock bass. That is like I've wanted to catch
I
that
haven't
for.
even heard of that one.
Oh, dude. Imagine. Okay, so it looks like a normal bass. It doesn't look anything like a normal bass. Let me not lie to you. Okay, so it has like the shape of a bass, but it has this like hump in the forehead area, and then they call it a peacock bass because it has, if you ever look at a peacock feather, it's got like this circle on the back of its tail that kind of looks like a peacock feather, and they have this like rainbow color, and they're just so pretty. They can come out like really orangey and yellow, and they'll have green on them, or they'll have some like bluish in there too. It's really, they're stunning. And then um a turpin, or I think it's tarpon, excuse me.
Tarpon.
Turpin. Yep. A tarpon is apparently like the catch of a lifetime. Like the fight and everything, it takes like hours to pull them in, and like, so that is definitely something I would love to try. And then maybe sturgeon. Those, I feel like I see videos on that all the time. Another catch of a lifetime, just because of like a dinosaur pulling out the water. But yeah, send Jessie my way. What up, Kristen? Oh, it went away.
Yeah, so I showed the first comment there.
Yeah, I didn't. Sorry.
I guess you're on your phone. I didn't realize that. So
you're good.
I mean, I realized it, but I wasn't thinking about it. So I highlighted those comments. But Kristen was just saying that I guess she's in South Florida, and she says send you her way.
There you go.
Because she
I
could
would
totally
love
hook
to,
you up.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that.
But yeah, Kristen's one of my friends from the true crime scene. But yeah, so I would say, like, as far as the difference between Wisconsin and Colorado, like Wisconsin, I had a lot of I had panfish, I had bass, I had like northern, you could get into some select few areas. I never caught one or even seen one, but like muskie was a thing that you could catch.
Yeah.
But like I got into all the walleye. Walleye is another one that
never caught that, but I heard a lot.
So walleye is really good, bass is really good, and bluegill is my favorite. Like any panfish is good, but like perch is good. But I miss the panfish the most. Like I wish there was a place I could catch bluegill or even sunfish. Like,
dude,
all
right, if you like bluegill and sunfish, okay, I'm gonna challenge you. I want you to go later. I don't care when, whenever. It's a long video. You don't have to watch the whole thing. But if you go on my channel, there's a video. It's called Full Moon Brim Fishing. And it has
brim fishing,
right? The biggest sunfish I've ever caught in my life. It's bigger than my hand, and I have big hands for a chick, right? So this thing they're massive. They breed around May. They only bed during like the first week of May. And so me and my dad will go out there and tear them up. I mean, you're pulling them in the boat just as fast as you can cast the line back out there. And they're huge, okay? They're giant. And so if you want to get into fishing, I'm telling you, if you go to Santee Cooper Lake or Lake Marion, however you want to call it, beautiful fishing out there. They also have really big catfish. Catfish are huge in that area and down the
catfish is fucking delicious, man.
Oh, dude, yeah. Some people don't like it. They're like, oh, it's too gamey.
They're like, oh, that's a mudfish or that's a bottom feeder or whatever. Like, so many people say that kind of shit. The same with hunting and people saying, oh, that's gamey. And I'm like, most of the time when they say that shit, I'm like, that's actually what I enjoy.
Like, no, you're just used to your fucking Tyson chicken nuggets, and you haven't gotten real.
Oh, for real. They're used to that processed bullshit or that fucking yuppie restaurant bullshit. Like, I miss the days when you get the couple places that didn't care about violating the health code and like actually gave you lake fish.
Right.
Dude, we had quite a few in rural Wisconsin that, it was the untold thing where it's like, yeah, the catch of the day is actually a catch of the day.
Oh,
know, but it's, it's the little local spot. Only the locals actually know that's what it is,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, you don't get it very often anymore. Nowadays, you probably don't get it at all because I'm
Oh,
sure
no.
health department's so much of a pain in the ass, but I get why they do it. It's just, I think there's something to be said on getting away from farm raised and actually getting wild stuff and finding
Yeah.
out a way to do it.
Well, they just approved. Now, I'm not really into like I don't really read a whole lot into politics, and I probably should. But I've been hearing a buzz going around about how they approved like lab grown meats and stuff for restaurant chains to be able to start getting into. And I mean, dude, that should
It'll be a
fucking
while.
scare people. I know it'll be a while, but
Yeah. Me and Yucky talked about that too.
yeah.
But yeah, clone meats and shit like that, because Yucky's a farmer and stuff. So
Okay, yeah.
he's talked about that quite a bit. But yeah, clone meats can be. I don't even know what the bad part would be, other than it just scares me, and there needs to be research done. As far as the politics portion of it goes, if you watch my stuff, you'll see me. I constantly have to step back and stop talking so much politics, because that's what I do. But at the same time, the reason why I am so interested in that kind of stuff is how much it affects your life. Especially post 2020, we can realize how much it affects your life. And the one thing I'll touch on with you with that, other than addressing kind of the health code stuff, is if you don't really get into politics, that's fine. But you should at least educate yourself enough to know your local politicians. It's important. And it's the people that say, I don't want anything to do with that all of a sudden you're the one that gets stepped on, because, and it was a perfect example what we went through at a national level. So, as far as the health code stuff goes, though, the health code stuff, I would say I'm even more worried nowadays, because I've seen so much things where they're like, oh, this is fine for you. Or again, not to get into the political portion of it, but just to look at 2020 and, those things. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get our stream shut down, but those things were deemed safe and everything else. And then we learn more and more, and we learn that spreads can still happen. You're not immune, all that kind of stuff. We learned the stuff you put on your face doesn't stop it, which I already knew because I'm trained in respiratory protection for confined space and everything else.
On the box that they
like, come on, bro. I mean, we'll recognize that at least if you cover your face, it's kind of like covering your cough. It doesn't stop everything, but it'll help stop spreading massive amounts of stuff.
Right.
So relating that to what up, Coca? Relating that
Coca's
to
in here. Hold on. Can I pause for a second?
Can I
pause for a second? I'm so y'all. Okay. I had no idea that Coca was dropping a song the same day that I was dropping a song, and neither did I know that FJ was dropping anything. Y'all need to go check out both of their songs. FJ just dropped one.
Hell yeah.
Coca just dropped one. Like, go check it out. Coca needs more attention, bro. Like, I listened to his song today. Yeah.
I think I just checked out Coca's on the live and FJ's. I think the FJ's was today, and I think I checked Coca's out yesterday. But either way, dude, they're both fucking fire. Absolutely fucking fire.
Oh yeah. I'm ready for Coca to just pop off, because I just like, he can say anything, and I just like the way he says it. Like the way he raps, and like he's got this, like, I don't know how to describe his voice other than, like, and this sounds dumb, but he's got this like sassiness to it, like this attitude, and it's just like, oh man, that's tough, But anyway,
that's kind of what I was calling out about your music too, though.
Oh yeah.
Like I think I said it with something different, and if not something different, like 6 foot or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the way you just punch with them fucking bars, I'm just like, damn, bro, that's dope.
Thank you, dude. Seriously.
Like, and I did say the same thing with Coca. Like the delivery is on point, like that either, if you want to call it like for musicians, the staccato or the accent to the way that you do it, it's fucking great, man. And I don't get me wrong, I can't claim to be a musician. I just grew up playing percussion and shit like that, so I'm like super into it and know about it, but I'm not. I can't do what you guys do.
Well, no, like, but you know a lot about music, and I could tell that even just like listening to your live stream, because you're like, hey, do you guys know what this instrument is? Or hey, I wonder what instrument that is. So, like my brother,
like when I called out your old school trumpet with the
you know,
I forget what that fucking cone's called because I've seen it so many times, but the dampener,
yeah. So it's funny because when I made the beat, the instrument that was on there, it was just a kazoo. And so they just fucking called it kazoo, some bunch of file numbers and shit like that. But I mean, when you said that, I was like, oh, you gonna learn me something today, motherfucker. Damn, I didn't know.
Oh, I knew it was electric. I straight up knew it because a lot of people use electric, but at the same time, the cool thing with electric nowadays is it's so on point. Like back in the day when 808 first came out, like you could tell it was electric. Nowadays, good luck. Play it side by side. You probably can't because they've upped that data rate so much, which is something that I have to worry about. Like when I'm editing videos and shit, is your amount of kilobits and all that kind of shit. Like, but yeah, they have so much more data in it, so it comes through so much clearer. And I just highlighted there. Coca shouted you out, said your new songs goes so motherfucking hard.
Oh, man, he's freaking awesome. I finally got to meet him.
Shit, dude.
I met him at a music video party, and it had a bunch of artists there. And I only got to talk to him for like a couple minutes, and I felt bad because I was like, man, I got all these people trying to talk to him and going back and forth, trying to like network and stuff. And he was trying to do the same thing, and he had his family there, and I was like, man. But yeah, y'all need to go check him out for sure.
Dude, I feel you on that. Obviously, I can't speak from an artist standpoint, but like, just for instance, Adam Calhoun was here with Big Murph and a couple other people, Backwoods Riot or whatever it was called, up in Fort Collins. But I took a picture for ACAL, and I was like, I want to get a picture with him so bad, but I could read his body language, and you know, ACAL's not much of a like. He gets social overload like the rest of us. And I was just like, nah, I ain't doing that to him. Like, got a chance to take a picture for Jelly too for my best friend. But again, he was trying to move through the fucking crowd at Cheyenne Frontier Days. And I'm like, I ain't doing that to him. My friend's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, all right, whatever.
He's like,
I'm like, go for it. What up, Kurt?
Kurt's in here? Oh my gosh, you got the whole family coming up in here.
Oh yeah. I try to make sure that I promote this one a little better.
Dude, you
I ain't on point with it, but I try to do some sloppy promo. It works.
Oh no. I saw the I was having a hard time. I was like, I just saw like the promo. I don't know where it's at. I was looking around, and then I saw the title, and you were like, the new Upchurch, and I was like, yo, that's a bold motherfucking title, dog. We might need to relax.
I knew you liked that one back. Fuck, what song was that? And you were like, damn, dude. And I was like, I didn't even see, because that's how I do my reaction. Like, I ain't thinking about saying that shit. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some times where I specifically like pay attention for shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna phrase it like this.
Yeah.
But when I first do that kind of shit, that's not at all, dude. I'm just telling you exactly what the fuck I feel. You know, I'm not trying to do anything for anybody any which way, just being honest, you know.
Right. No, I totally get that, bro. But no, like I will say, like, I've been watching your stuff ever since. I can't remember what the first song it was that you reacted to. But then you did like a reaction of a couple like little things, and then I was surprised that you reacted to the redneck woman thing. Like I didn't expect that, but I was like, dude, that's freaking awesome. That's awesome.
I did everything with Upchurch and reacting to his vlogs and everything, so it was one of those things where I was like, all right, well, let's check this out, because I knew redneck woman was not gonna be any sort of rap talk type music, so I was like, let's see what she's got on this. And you have some vocal cords, like you're able to fucking sing. So that's why I watched it. Is it's like that's a different side to artists, because so many people are going to look at people who rap, hip hop artists, whatever, like, oh, they can't sing, they're just talking with a tone or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, nah, like quite a few of you are really good at singing. Like, I'm sure you've watched Upchurch for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, like, just look at what we seen out of Cheatham County, the first album,
Right.
versus where he's at now, and not only the musical progression, but I've watched him like prove that you can kind of sing and then train your voice to be like, his abilities now are just
100%.
insane, dude.
Yeah.
He's been so insanely dedicated to learning things.
Yeah.
And that's that, like, honestly, above all else, he's been the motivation.
Yeah. I can't even pinpoint like when it was that I started to notice the transition, but it was like, oh shit. Like that sounds like a completely different Upchurch. Like that doesn't even sound like the same, like in the best way. Like in like, oh my gosh, she sounds great. And it is true, like you can train your voice to do certain things. Like I've listened to videos when I was like 16 or 17 and listened to my voice now, and it's like, oh my gosh, when my balls drop, like my voice is like it's way lower. And it's like, holy shit, like and so it is, you could train your voice, and especially as you get older, and like if you listen to Beyonce, like when she first came out, and you listen to Beyonce now, it's like two different women. But with the times, and you change your voice, and I think his voice has been aging well. I know that sounds silly to say, but genuinely.
Yeah. Well, something else I'll say about that, and this is from my own experience in knowing some people that were more in the profession, not so much necessarily artists, but theater. So I did an internship under my uncle out in Olympia, Washington. One of the largest, at the time, was one of the largest kids programs for theater. Yeah. And I met a lot of different artists, and actually one of our really close friends, she lives in Nevada now, but she was living up there at the time, is one of the girls from the Mamma Mia Travel Broadway. So wow. Like I got to spend 4th of July with her when I was 18. That was fucking dope. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like she's a fucking celebrity and everything. And it's like, she's treating me like a normal person and everything. Oh, fuck, cool. Anyway, so learning from her and everything, because she's talked a little bit about singing, obviously, like she would sneak away to go have a cigarette. And she's like, my mom can't see me because my mom will tear me a new asshole for ruining my vocal cords. But then watching these kids train, watching these professionals that are teaching the kids and everything, I swear to God, anybody with dedication, 1000%, they can train their voice. Yeah. It's all about vocal lessons, because every one of these kids was taking vocal lessons, and it's building a muscle like anything else. I forget who said that one. I heard that one recently in the sphere of YouTube or something, but somebody talked about like strengthening your vocal muscle, and it's true. Your vocal cords are a muscle.
Right.
So,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you could train, and not just your voice, your body. You could train a dog. You train everything. It's all about how much dedication you have, how much confidence you have. There's a lot of people who can't sing, but if you train yourself to do so, you'll sound pretty good. And with the technology you have today, it's like you can make your voice sound like anything. Yeah. And now I try not to condone that, but yeah. I mean,
what I will say is on that note, I will say that I think a lot of people probably have I guess, because I can't think of another word right now, my sickness, in thinking that they're not good enough here, or their voice isn't good enough, or what, that constant self-doubt that, absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% right. You can always train yourself for it.
Yeah. I used to be really bad about that, like real bad, to the point where like I'm just now getting into like, or I would say the last like 6 months, getting into posting like singing videos. Because I would sing a whole song, and if I hit one bad note, I got to restart. I got to do the whole thing over. It's terrible. They're going to see
perfectionist
that.
like me.
Yeah, and so 100%. And I feel like a lot of musicians do that. Like my brother's the same way. Like me and my brother are working on a track together, and he was playing the guitar to some of the beats that I had, put together. And he's like, "Oh, we got to restart." And I was like, "What do you mean? I didn't even catch where it sounded bad." He goes, "Yeah, but I wanted to do this instead, so we just got to restart. It just didn't sound right." And then he does it, and he's like, "Oh, we got to do this." And I'm like, "Bruh, like it sounds amazing." And so you have to like consider that as an artist or someone who appreciates music. It's like, especially if you're trying to do it, if that's your passion and you're trying to, whatever, you got to realize like people hear things differently. In fact, like when you hear your own voice, sometimes you might cringe. You be like, "Oh, that's what I sound like," but that's not what other people respond with. When I sing, I'm also hearing the reverb within my own, I guess, throat coming out. So I hear my voice completely different than someone else might hear my voice. And so, it's just a lot of, it's all about perception. It's all about, and even too, like I can sing in the bathroom shower and I can sing in the studio and I sound amazing with the reverb in the shower and I sound like shit right here. And so it's all, it's crazy. You can train your voice to do really awesome things. And it's funny you say like,
and
theater. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was saying, a lot of times I'll warm up to like opera songs or like musical songs, like Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia. That's like my ish. And then, like Phantom of the Opera. I like to warm up sometimes to stuff like that. There's another one called what's it called? Into the Woods. I like to listen to the soundtrack there, and I like warm up to songs like that. And then The Little Mermaid. I always sing that song, Part of Your World, like before I record anything, just to warm up to. But yeah, I like that you have such an eclectic, taste for music. That's something to be appreciated.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I like all sorts of music. There's a select few things that I'm not big into, or there's stuff that I might not listen to much, but there's very few things that I just automatically say that's not music, I won't listen to it.
Right.
There's stuff I don't listen to as much, like opera or something like that. I'm not really, but
I'm not like openly. I've got to be in a mood for it to listen to it.
Yeah. I would probably go some sort of performance before I'd ever sit there and listen to that shit in my car. But like classical, I have respect for it, but I don't listen to it as much. But I do have a lot of respect for the fact that it's literally like the original type music. So,
yeah.
But metal, hip hop, rap, rock, country, I don't know. That's like some of the main ones, but like I get into everything. Like I've touched into like horrorcore is what I'm calling it, because that's what Skits Craven calls it. But if you pay attention to like Ren, perfect example. First song I got into Ren's was Animal Flow. That was probably better horrorcore than Skits has ever dreamed of doing. And I say that because I've always had like this little side reserve of like, I don't know that I like him because he's from Wisconsin, so I'm a little extra critical. But I'm just like, I don't know. But I do like him now. I've learned to grow to like him. But that's how I am with a lot of artists. If I don't find you like naturally through my own thing, like I did with you or something, like if I have a friend says, "Hey, listen to this," I'm like, I don't know.
I'm the same way though. That's why it's really hard. Like, when you have like, if I'll post something, be like, "Hey, like, listen to this," or "Hey, I just released a new song," there's gonna be an immediate group of people who are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm on it. I'm gonna go listen to it." And then like they say like, "Oh," they go to their friends, but "Hey, listen to this." It's really hard to get people to push that music because a lot of people are that way. Like someone tells me like, "Hey, man, you gotta listen to this song," and if they're like, it's not like something you normally listen to, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to hear it. So I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna stick over here with what I like. But I'm also the kind of person, if I find a song that I do like naturally, that motherfucker's gonna be, I'm gonna play it probably 10, 15 times a day. Like my gym playlist is like the same 6 songs, and I'm just like, oh yeah, back to song number 3, but yeah, no, it's I can appreciate people who have an eclectic or like diverse taste for music because it makes for such interesting conversation. It makes for such, I like to learn new things. I like to learn uh, how to do things and different artists and different genres so that I can broaden that and I can relate to different people, and so music is definitely a way to do that.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. And I think it's kind of a gateway into who somebody is. Like you
Right.
start to learn about their music, even somebody who doesn't talk much.
Yeah.
Like you can't talk to them much, but you start, maybe it's you have to ride together in the car and this dude just doesn't talk, but you start playing music and they're like, oh, I like this, why don't you put this on, or hey, yeah, I want to listen to this, and then you start kind of opening that door and learning different things about somebody, because you can look into, like, for instance, for me, I absolutely love Upchurch. There's a reason why I follow Upchurch so much, and it's because just about everything he makes speaks to who I am as a person so much because of what I grew up with and how I am, that you can learn a lot from that. So other people, it's like you can start to look at, like, especially people who like music. So one thing I would out of the comments is that you can kind of rip off of, I found interesting. So Carly says, I struggle with hating how I sound, kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
And the part that I pick out is Coca's response. Is Coca says, me too, for real. And Carly goes, really, you sound so good.
Yeah. It's funny
yeah,
you say that. It's just that
it's
artist.
just an artist
Yes,
thing.
it
Yeah,
is. It
critiquing
is.
yourself too much. But dude,
Yeah.
I do the same shit. It's a type of, I think it's people with a high drive, a high passion for what they do, that ambition, that,
If you ever start to hear too,
yeah.
if you ever start to hear your artist, like your favorite artist, and they start to make stuff and it's like, man, like I start to cringe or whatever, you could tell that they lost that passion too. Like if you're
Hmm.
not a perfectionist about your stuff and you're not
Hmm.
critiquing, you being your own critique and also allowing other people to critique it and take that as not someone talking shit, but take it as a lesson, then you're not truly passionate about it. You got to be able to accept that kind of stuff. And so that's why I love, like, I know I really want Coca to be passionate about it because I love the way he sounds. But it also, I can appreciate, he's like, man, I hate the way I sound, because I'm like, man, we all hate the way we sound, dog. Like, we all out here just insecure about that shit sometimes.
Dude, I used to hate my voicemails.
Oh, God. Yeah, dude. Or like whenever you're on the phone with somebody and you can like kind of hear your voice like echo back and you're like, oh God, like that's what I sound like. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I like that, JJ. You say Wisconsin, I think T-Pain, LOL. Wisconsin.
oh yeah. Oh my God. I saw a meme of that the other day. I think he posted about it on Instagram or something because a lot of people don't know this. I talked a little bit about this in the other live stream, but the whole concept of something different came from a video that he posted on his podcast. And he's calling out all these rappers. He's like, we got the baby, Lil Baby, or all these. He's like, we got enough of these rappers. Like, do something different. Do something different. And he says that. And I was like, that's it. So the original version of the song, oh yeah, the original version of that song, instead of the beginning where it sounds like I'm on the phone and I'm like, you got all these rappers, yada, 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 it was the recording of T-Pain. But I was like, I can't release this with that because I don't have the rights to his voice. And trying to ask T-Pain, yo, can I use your voice? Like, yeah, right. So
Right?
I just went with it my own way. But yeah, it's funny that she brought that up. T-Pain,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. I just saw both.
Yeah. I will say this though. Oh, you were reading that.
You're good.
Sorry.
To recreate the same energy that I wrote it with. Yeah, dude. I did one for this album. It was gonna have 10 songs, and one of the songs was called "Keys to the South," and I envisioned this like aggressive, like me, like yelling. I mean, just getting hype, talking about being from the country, and it's like you're gonna know that I'm from the fucking country. But
Yeah.
I listened back to it. I'm like, dude, I'm just screaming. Like that's annoying as fuck. Like I was like, I can't roll with that one. We gotta scrap that bitch. We can take it back to the drawing board. So maybe I'll redo it some way. But yeah, I feel you on that, Coca.
I feel like, and this is just me from my own creating standpoint, obviously not with music, but I feel like anytime you start getting them shower ideas, the drive-in, the whatever, like immediately that shit's got to get put down, because there's so many ideas that I've had, hundreds, if not thousands of ideas that I've had, where it's like, they might, it might have only been 1% of those 1,000, but that's 10 ideas that if I would have wrote them down and remembered it and kind of envisioned it, worked on it a little bit, I could have went somewhere with that particular topic, that idea, whatever. Right. So I can only imagine, like, for you guys, you gotta have a note app or something on your phone, or carry a notebook all the time, or whatever the fuck,
Note app was to ever get deleted, or if my phone was to ever get broken, my whole life is over, dog. Like, I would be
back that shit up, girl.
It's funny, like, sometimes I used to work at a welding and fabrication warehouse. Yeah. And all day you were doing the same thing. And so I started out in what we call the shakeout section. So this warehouse would make products all out of metal. So anywhere between like pharmaceutical health, like, I don't know, what do you call it? Devices, like any machinery, parts to tractors. Anything with metal.
Random shit. Yeah.
And so my station, when I first started there, was at the shakeout station. So they would cut something off of the laser and bring it out to me, and I just got this template. And so I've literally got to shake out all these parts, organize them, sand them, grind them down. And anyway, the whole time, like, you just hear these loud machines. And so what I would do is I would bring my headphones every single day, and I would listen to music. And then I got sort of bored listening to the same song. So then I started listening to podcasts, and I got bored listening to the same podcasts. So I started listening to YouTube and trying to figure out how to market my music, and how do I rap better? How do I plan shows? How do I manage myself? And just listening to that and training myself on. Anyway, needless to say, it's gotten me to the point now where I'm confident enough, going back to like with the confidence thing, but I'm confident enough to know that all of this stuff is self-taught. All of this stuff is from YouTube, and I want to push that for more people. If you're watching this, or if you're into music, or if music is something that you want to do, is that you can do the same exact thing. When I first started, I started asking people, DMing, messaging, emailing, like, tell me what you know. Yeah. If there's any advice that you have for a new artist, and they would give me a little one-liner bumper sticker bullshit. Or, give me, well, go check out this video.
They just kind of passed you off or whatever. Yeah.
And so you got to stop relying on that shit and just do it yourself. And so that's what I've gone on this tangent now. I don't even remember where I was going with it, but needless to say, I would just teach myself all of this stuff through YouTube. And in that time, I'm working on this, but in my mindset, like, I'm in a whole different, this is where I was going with it. I was working, obviously doing my job, but in my mind, I'm like preparing for the bigger picture. Like, okay, I'm going to do music.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, anyway, going back to like writing lyrics and that's where I was going with this. Writing lyrics and keeping them, in my notepad or anything like that. We would have these layouts of the templates and how the parts were supposed to go together, and supposed to send them off to the next station to be assembled or whatever it might be. And so every like hour or so, I would take one of the sheets that, didn't really matter anymore, and I would write lyrics on the back, or I would write marketing plans on the back, or whatever I was listening to, just taking notes. And so every day I was going home from my day job with a stack of papers with just random shit. And I even still today now will go back to that stack of papers that's sitting in my room, and I'll look through it and I'll see, is there anything I can use here? Is there anything? And it's just ideas. And I do the same thing with my notes app. And so it's really cool to be, or to understand that, like, these ideas, when they pop in, you got to write them down. You got to write them down because you'll use them later. You'll use them later for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that. It's self-taught is a great way. Like, so many people limit themselves, and so many people like doubt themselves, as we were talking earlier. And it's just start learning. You know, like I've I've got a long way to go, but just in my time being on, like if you look at some of my original ones when I just was doing friggin' rant videos at my old apartment, and like I didn't have a ring light to level it out or another light over here in the corner where it's like providing supplemental light, which I still got to up my light game. I'm gonna get a couple more, but anyway, but regardless, it's I don't have a shit ton of shadows like I used to, and there used to be a dark side of my face and shit, and you know the production level, like the cool thing about getting into reacting, the biggest thing that I've loved about getting into reacting is I've learned so many things from working copyrights to producing videos and like actually figuring out how to edit all the stuff. And now I'm just adding like the subscribe button. Like I made my own subscribe feature and everything like that, so I can have that in my videos. I've made my own titles. Like when something different drops, you'll see all the features fully. But
Yeah.
like so far, I've gotten like backgrounds on that video. The like subscribe is on there, and the title saying, you know, something different, Jessie B, with my little logo next to you and shit like
Yeah.
that. Like that's all stuff I learned because I just went and did it instead of
Yeah.
doubting, instead of going, well, what about the rights? What about this? What about that? Oh, I don't know how to talk to people through a camera. Fuck it, do it. You know, and you'll learn it.
Yeah. People who say that, like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't afford this, I can't do this. Those people are going to continue to make excuses, and those people are going to continue to be unsuccessful. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in, I don't even remember where I heard this, but the definition of insanity or crazy or whatever is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And and so it's like people like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna keep doing what I know how to do, but and expect it to go differently. You got to keep broadening your horizons. You got to try new stuff. Like when I first, dude, I try to explain this to people because if you'd have told me when I was in high school that I was gonna be doing rap music, I would have laughed in your face and told you like I'm gonna be the next Guggen Squad, Hannah Baron. Like, you know, I'm not gonna be a rapper. And so
I like how you mentioned Hannah Baron. I got her on my Instagram too.
She's so cool, man. I'm trying to be like Co Wetzel and go noodling with her, dude. That's been like a dream.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I'm up here and I'm pretty sure she's like 4'11", and so it would be so fun. Like, it would be great.
Oh, that shit would be hilarious, and she'd still be schooling your ass on how to do all that stuff.
She whipped my ass. She pulled out an 8-foot fucking catfish. I'm like, golly.
I think she's the one that goes out with her dad too, isn't she?
Yeah, Jeff Barron.
Yeah, Jeff. And dude, seeing those two together, and I'm like, that's just dope. Like that. Yeah, that is a perfect image of how to raise your kid.
Yeah. That's kind of like what me and my dad envisioned, not like noodling or anything like that, because my dad thinks that's shit crazy. He's like, that's for them. I could never. I'd stick my hand in the damn copper-headed rattle moccasin mouth and I'm done. He's like, yeah. But no, like, just that's kind of like what me and my dad wanted to do when I started doing like YouTube videos and the fishing vlogs, and so I had a whole like logo and like my, I guess, line that I would say at the end of all my videos is adventure awaits, stay outdoors. And that was like my tagline or whatever. And then to see it form into rap music, like you could not have told me back in the day that I was going to be doing rap music. And so leading back into kind of what we were talking about before, if this is something that you want to do or you want to try, like you just got to fucking go for it. Like, yo,
I'm sorry, you got to read this. I totally read.
He looked like he choked bears. No, replace choke bears with chug beers, and that's my dad.
But I was just dying. Like he looked like he choked bears for fun. I was like, God damn it. Dude, I'm trying to listen to her, and I'm dying over here.
Dude, I'm a lot like I look identical to my mom, but I act like my dad. And without my dad and my brother, like I would have such a boring personality, dude. Like he's such a funny guy. Like, I'll tell you a story. My brother told me this story about my dad. So, and he might be watching this. So, Dad, if you're watching this, this is you, buddy.
What up, Dad?
So, so I want to say my brother had just moved back home to South Carolina, and down at my dad's, these airplanes. There's like an airport not far, so these airplanes would fly, and it would almost be like they'd fly directly over the house. Well, then these two like military like jets just like go by, and they're huge and they're loud and they're just like whoa, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And
they buzzed you.
Dad, oh yeah, just without batting an eye. Once they get far away enough to where my brother could hear him sitting next to him on the porch, my dad goes, "See, son, I told you the mosquitoes are just big as hell around here." And like my brother starts busting out laughing, and he'll just say like funny shit like that all the time. And so when we go fishing and we just have such a good time. And so he, I remember when I first told him about this music stuff, he was like, you know, that's interesting. You know, he wanted me to do more of the singing stuff, but when he saw how excited I was about this, and he's been nothing but supportive. And so
that's awesome.
I always, that's why I love the Hannah Barron, like Jeff Barron duo, because I'm like, man, I relate to that so much.
Yeah, hell yeah. Another one that reminds me, and Koki even mentioned that Hannah's from Alabama, but Allie from Alabama is another one that I've caught that does that noodling shit and everything else. I'm like, this little stick figure of a girl is like manhandling this big ass fish. I'm like, God damn. Like, holy shit. But what up, Kenny? Appreciate you being here.
Kenny, is it Kenny Reacts?
Yes, ma'am.
Hell yeah, dude. There's another Kenny. I don't know. Sometimes I'll be talking and they'll be like, "Oh, this," and I'll be like, "No, I'm talking about Kenny Reacts. I don't know who that is."
Nah, the real Kenny.
The Kenny, bro. Oh man.
Yeah,
that's
Kenny's
awesome
cool shit, man.
That's awesome to see.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. So we talked about you being from Carolina. Or spending some time in Carolina. You said a lot of different states though. So is it just North and South Carolina, or is there a couple other?
North and South Carolina is like where I grew up in. I've got family out in Georgia. I've got some family now in Tennessee. I've got family everywhere. Both of my parents had 6 siblings. So I've got cousins for days, and they're all over the place. South Carolina will always be my home. Yeah. And so if someone had to say pick a Carolina, there's no competition whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I mean, it's something about it. People they hate it. Like South Carolina is seen as the ashtray of the states, or they have terrible roads, and it's like. But there's something about
it. Bro, we all got terrible roads.
Yeah. It's potholes and potheads down in South Carolina.
For real. I mean, that describes Colorado right there.
Yeah. But honestly, I've been thinking about like where I want to go next. Right now I'm in North Carolina. I just got back from being at my dad's filming. I thought about maybe getting some property down closer where my dad's at, just to be closer to my family. I've got some younger siblings that I hate to be so far away from. Yeah. But then I've also been considering, you know, I have all of my friends really are in Tennessee. The people that I'm close with, like my best friend, I talk with her on the daily, Jay. She's probably in the chat. Like, she lives out in Tennessee. And I've gone out there.
She was there earlier.
Yeah. I've gone out there like twice, and I've always come back with like, man, I gotta be there. Like, that was just such an amazing place to be at. And I don't know, I'm just kind of in this like, do I go back home? Do I stick with what's familiar? Do I go here? And, you know, going back home, like I said, it will always be home. It will always be where my family is at. But I'm also trying to figure out, like, what do I want to do? Because when growing up, when my parents split, it was a lot of like, okay, we'll just go along with what they're doing, obviously. And so now it's like,
what up, Vic?
Oh, Vic's in here too. Man, got everybody in this thing. That's awesome, bro.
Dude, they all showed up for you.
Oh, dude, that makes
they ain't here for me. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, no, for us. How about that? They're here for us. That's awesome, man. Like, I tell you what, everybody that you've listened, like, oh, well, hey, Kenny, hey, this, like, they have been, since I've chatted with them and met them, like, Vic was one of the very first to ever discuss. I think they're the first to ever review my music. I'm pretty sure. And it's just crazy to see how much has changed since then, and the fact that they have still support me 100%. And Vic has done a lot in like showing me, especially with his reviews. Like the reason why I love Country Rap Report, I'm gonna put them on real quick. I don't even give a fuck. I know we're supposed to be talking about something different, but the fact that they would give me like good criticism. I talk about criticism a lot. Oh, like, what's up, man? They gave me the basis and the things I needed to know, because number one, it's really nice to hear when people are like, oh man, your song is great, and that's awesome to hear. That's like the affirmation that every artist wants to hear. But I also need you to affirm what I'm hearing and tell me like the bad stuff too, because that's what's going to make me a better artist. Even if you don't see that there's any bad stuff, if there's something that could be improved on, if there's something that you can try, maybe try something different, literally. And you know, that's what I appreciated so much about Country Rap Report and Rad and Dirty Radio and Vic, and like now he's got Chief on there, dude. He's fucking awesome. I'm so glad that he's brought him on to the team there. And just
Chief from
hearing,
Trailer Mid.
Yeah. And just hearing all the perspectives, especially from people who have been in the game for a long time. I just appreciate that criticism.
Yeah. Vic, well, and if I understand correctly, I'm definitely not well versed on his background, but Vic came from the hip hop world in general, didn't he? Previously?
He did. He certainly did. And he's got a lot of connections with that. He spent a lot of time in the trenches with more, you know, rap. And that's why I think it's so cool that he's coming into this, or has been coming into this, and trying to build up this genre, because he sees the vision for where this could be.
Yeah.
And I believe, you know, the only thing I believe, and it's kind of the push for this track and Beth Dutton and a lot of stuff, is that I don't want to see, country rap is the only genre where I feel like the artists of the genre are still people, or feel like they're still people, or relatable. And this is gonna be a weird word to use, but they're almost tangible. It's like, I can relate to you, but then if I go and talk to, I don't know, what's a country artist that I like, Carly Pierce. I think she's got a beautiful voice. I don't feel like I could go up and talk to her and have a conversation, because I just see her as, you know, oh, thank you, Vic. That's freaking awesome. I want to preserve country rap. I want to see country rap preserve itself, but I also want to see it grow and steer clear of the horrors that mainstream brings along with it.
Yes.
I feel.
And that's.
Go ahead.
Nope. Finish your. Yep.
No, you're good. That's really where I was going to end. You're good.
Okay, so that was actually something I kind of wanted to call back, and I was trying to keep in the back of my head. So that coming up was actually perfect, because Coca had said something earlier, and we're in the middle of a big, long, perfect conversation. So I was like, I'll come back to it. But Coca had mentioned that one day you're going to get that big check, or that big check's going to come your way. And the first thing I had in my head, assuming you've watched as much as you have, is signing to labels. Like, I get you got to do what you got to do, and by no means listen to my advice. This is just my thought on the independent scene in general. But I think it speaks to like what you're talking about being to get to know the artist and everything else. That's independence. Like Tom McDonald's a perfect example of that. Being that, you know, yes, he's stepping into the more countryside of things here, there now, and he might even come out with a full album. But
I think him and Adam are cooking something, but
I am 90% sure they're cooking something.
Anyway,
I've seen enough that's going on. There's something coming. I can't wait. But anyway, so staying independent, man, it's a hard grind. It's something that Church proved can be done. He's not the first. Tom proved it can be done, but
Absolutely.
it's becoming more prevalent and people are following in those two footsteps. And I'm absolutely loving seeing it. You get Church coming up on this independence thing, then you get him helping Adam Calhoun come up, and then Calhoun brings Broadnax back into the view of things. That's just a few that I can name without going on forever, but it's a chain effect after another. This person brought this person, and they're all people we dearly love now. And now we're seeing people like pick out Coca in chat here, or Just Trey's coming up, and like these dudes got fucking fire. And obviously I'm not mentioning you're included right in that, but it's just so much shit coming up, and I'm absolutely loving it. I am absolutely loving it. And I can't even say for sure how I found you or Lil Payday, if it was Upchurch sharing your guys' stuff first, or if it was Captain Kurt. I shout out Kurt on a lot of that stuff. Vic, I've shouted out a couple times for showing me some things too. Like Yucky Banks is total credit to Vic. Had I not watched his show, I'd have never checked out Yucky or had him on my show, you know? So, but I love this independent scene, and you're right. It is mostly country rap, but 100%, I think that's due to independence, and Church has done a good job of exposing, and obviously mainstream, you have Taylor Swift did a little bit of it as well, but exposing what the labels are doing. You know, exposing the fact that they own you afterwards. They own your entire catalog. You no longer have the rights to your own damn music that you wrote.
Yeah. And then it even goes further than that. You can start off being really passionate about music, writing your stuff, and then, you know, then you sign with somebody, and then slowly but surely, you're not even writing your own music. They're telling you, hey, pick a song out of this catalog. Pick one. Or, hey, then you don't even have an option. We need you to sing this song. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. Then you need to go do this. And, and it becomes...
You need to release on this deadline. It needs to be on these topics. I had this ghostwriter give you this lyric, you know.
And I mean, I'm not going to say, like, for some people, that works. For some people, that works. They might have a really beautiful voice, but they can't write songs. Or
and that's fine. I'm not discouraging that. It's the directional bullshit that mainstream is doing. It's this, it's writing music to send the followers in this direction or that direction, instead of allowing people who are just normal people to write about their lives and us to be normal people instead of mindless drones that follow the bullshit.
Well, that's the difference between someone who's going to be a musician and someone who's going to be a fucking legend. Like, for example, what's the guy who sang that song about Applebee's? He's like, Fancy Like or something like that.
Oh, Fancy Like Applebee's on yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Fuck. Vic, shout it out in chat because I know you know the fucking song.
I hate that.
But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
But I think the fact that I don't even know his name speaks volumes. Okay, I just know the song.
But no, I actually like the artist too. That's the sad thing. But I know exactly what you're talking about. It's nothing but a sponsorship song, and I hate that I love singing it.
Well, no, I'm not the biggest. Here's why I'm not the biggest fan of that song. Number one, yes, it's overplayed. When I first heard it, I was like, okay,
Walker Hayes.
Like, that's her word. It seems relatable, right? If you go watch the music video is him playing basketball outside. It's like, what? And so, and he's wearing like a vest. He's wearing like, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not tripping, if maybe that's not like...
it's Walker Hayes.
Walker Hayes, yes, okay.
And I have heard of him before, but he hasn't been like an A-list artist. Like to me, he's always, to me, my perception, he's always been like B-list. Like he makes quite a few good songs, but they're like, he's not... Luke Bryan, you could say, is A-list, even though I don't like everything he does either. But
it's like you'll know a song by Walker Hayes. And I'm not talking about Walker Hayes. I'm not talking shit about him on a personal level. I just feel Like that's the
Yeah.
difference between a legend like Elvis, like Hank Williams, like in our generation, like Ryan. You know, that's the
Yeah.
difference, is because they have that control and they're actually sharing some insight on their life, and they don't give a fuck what people think is hip and hop. Like, I can make a song right now and it go absolutely fucking viral. I'll be able to feed my family, take care of my, my kids, whatever it might be, which I don't have kids, but this is just hypothetical. Do whatever I need to do, and then never do music again because I just made that hit song.
Yeah.
Um, and then, you know, it becomes more about, like, I feel like with this genre, you get to see so much of the artist, and that's what makes people fall in love with the music even more. Because I mean, there's no other artist on this planet, or excuse me, there's no other genre I feel out there where you see so much of the artist's life. You see so much of it.
Yeah.
Perfect example is like Jelly. You
Yeah.
saw everything with Jelly, and then now you see him, you know, going more towards that route and blowing up.
Hey.
Yeah,
On that topic, though, did you
yeah.
catch how he just released, what was it? I think She went over to the label, the song She that he wrote. And then what was the other? Fuck, what was the one that he just did with Lainey Wilson?
Was it Save Me?
Yes, I think it was Save Me. We both know he did that song before he was ever on label.
Yeah, but
And now it got rewritten entirely to be a label song. Like the ownership to that song is now part of whoever he signed to. Like that
that just
to
tells you right
me
there. Like,
is a tragedy.
I'm so ignorant to like that kind of stuff. I have no idea. Like, I'll be honest.
The only reason I caught it on a reactor and I reacted to Save Me before he was ever signed, and then all of a sudden I'm like, Save Me with Lainey Wilson, like what? And he duetted it and basically must have, I can only assume because I know about labels, but he must have given the rights up to the label. Like that's just sad, dude. It was a song that he wrote that was his, and now it's, not to mention, now the kind of stuff that he comes out with. I still love Jelly to death. Yeah. Like I love the music he comes out with, but
yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
It's just sad to see. I can only see that this is just gonna be the labels are gonna bleed him dry.
I can see, like, I'll be honest, I don't know enough information to talk about that, because when I do, the only reason I know about the Lainey Wilson thing, I didn't know that they actually released the song together. She rewrote it, but I saw a clip.
She didn't rewrite it, but she duetted what he had already written.
But I do remember seeing them duet it. Like I think I was like on TikTok or something, that where they were at the CMAs or something.
Yeah,
and they did that. And I don't know enough. I don't even know if Jelly is signed to anybody or if he has his own label or how that works. I don't really know. So I can't really.
He's signed now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know.
Him and Struggle, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Struggle both signed up.
I know
Vic can talk more to this because Vic's the one that follows the news stream. So Vic, feel free to chime in the chat, because I'll take your word as the gospel on this. But yeah, as far as I know, like Jelly and Struggle both signed up, and I still love those guys to death, but it's just it's sad to see because they were both so huge in this genre.
Well, I think
I'll
say this, like, I'm not. If anybody can do it and make a difference in mainstream, it's going to be Jelly. If anybody can make a difference, I feel like it's going to be him. Because...
Oh, did he sign to 1 RPM, Vic? Is that it? So he just signed to 1 RPM as distribution? Anyway, keep going. What were you saying? You were saying make a difference.
I feel like if anybody's going to make a difference or can I feel like it would be Jelly. But then again, I don't know him on a personal level, so I can't really speak on that. And I don't know. I haven't done enough research. I'm the kind of person like I don't want to like to talk about things that I don't know more information about, and that's one of those things.
Yeah.
But I will say, if that's the case, if anybody can make a difference, I feel like he would be the one to do so because his fan base, his whole life is transparent. Everybody knows he struggled with, abuse and stuff, like or drug abuse and
and he struggled with a little bit of background and stuff like that.
And
so Vic says it's not 1 RPM, but he did sign to a major distribution. So Struggles 1 RPM. I knew that came up in my feed when I did Struggles songs. So that, but I guess I don't know the ins and outs. That would be something that Vic would have to educate me on, but maybe major distros aren't so much as bad as the label kind of owning your catalog and shit like that. But
shit, I don't fucking
I'm
know,
just
bro.
so like I'm so hoping for artists to stay. Like I know it's such a grind for you, so it's kind of like asinine for me to sit here and be like, stay independent. But I realize the struggle. Like you want to make that money and you want your shit to pay off. So I get it. I just when you see where music's gone, it's like, God damn, dude, really? I don't want to see like labels destroy this shit.
I'll tell you this. If a label ever came to me and wanted to do something, I've already said in multiple songs, fuck mainstream. Literally, and not like, oh, screw me. I've said fuck mainstream. And I'll say it again, fuck
Beth
mainstream.
Dutton. I just checked it out today. That's why I can say that.
Some people are like, oh, you shouldn't say that. Like, you'll never have a chance. And I'm like, good. I don't want a chance. I don't ever want somebody to have a pen and paper and say, tell me what you want, and I'll give you this money, and we'll get you going here. I don't ever want to be tempted with that. So that's my security right there. Fuck mainstream. I'll never.
Yeah.
They can't listen to my music and say, yeah, we can put that on the radio. You can't. I have a mouth like a sailor. That's my security right there. Like, And so at the end of the day, it's like, I would rather be where I'm at right now than ever be, let's say, we all struggle, with finances every now and then. I would rather struggle for the rest of my life and know that I'm doing something with integrity, with control. I'm a huge pride person. I want to take pride in what I do every single day and what I create, especially my music. And I would rather have that secured than have money in my pocket or know that I can take care of this. Now, obviously, there is a desire. Every artist wants to get paid to do something they love. I mean, that's undeniable, But Jelly said something, and I'll attest this to him. I can't remember if it was a podcast or something, but it's something I've carried with me for a long time. And there's two types of artists or two types of rappers. I'm not really sure how he worded it. But he said there's the kind that do music to get into a certain lifestyle, and there's the kind that do music to get out of a certain lifestyle. And it's a testament of people's integrity. Some rappers, they want to they want to go to parties, they want to have bitches, they want to have money, they want the chains, they want the drugs and shit like that. And other artists, like country rap, they just want to be able to feed their families. They just want to be able to live comfortably, do something that they love. And, that's why I'm a huge, huge person on independence. I want to push it more. I want to teach people, like, this is something you can do if you want to do it. I try to say, in like my video descriptions, like if you read my video descriptions on my music videos, I try to encourage that, especially females. Cause like, bro, there's like, what, 4 of us, including me? The fuck? There's like 1 million fucking male ones. And we need to diversify it. Where's the country?
And unfortunately, a lot of girls that are up like you choose to exploit their appearance rather than exploit their talents. I know you're one to call that out too, and I appreciate that about you.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, and this is a huge thing, and
I just called it out. I think today, looking at one of your songs, I was like, she ain't wrong.
That's something I want to talk about. Like that's something I really want to talk about because it's so important. What a lot of people like, yes, country rap you can kind of, I don't know, country rap has such a huge fan base, and it's such a different fan base than than other genres, because it's so diverse. You've got little children, and then you've got grown ass men, you got grown ass women, you got 20-year-olds, you got teenagers, you got all these people who listen to this music and are passionate about it. Like, anything Ryan puts out, they're like, hell fucking yeah. Anything that I got fans, anything I put out, it could be trash, and they're like, fuck yeah, dude, we love it, we love it. And so, but I have a huge fan base of kids.
Yeah.
And my little sister, she is about to be 12 years old in October. She watches my music a lot. And now I've got a bad potty mouth. I'll say that. I guess I put a parental advisory on anything that's
dude, that's how I feel when I talk to Payday and stuff. I'm always like, oh man, I don't want to upset mama. I don't want to,
Oh, dude, I'm so bad about it.
Like, I don't want to be a bad influence.
Right? I'm so bad. Sometimes I forget that he's only 12. I'm like, holy shit, bro.
13 now.
13. Like, are you sick, bro? At 13, I was still eating dino nuggets, dog. Like,
for real, dude. And that's why I love reacting to his shit, is because he's as good as he is at his age. It's like, just imagine where he's going.
Right. And like, that's
you were saying anyway, so influence on kids.
Yeah. I mean, it correlates directly with it. Like, there's such an influence. I have such a big following of kids. And I'm not a parent, but my little sister, growing up, like, she was my baby pretty much. Was changing her diapers.
We got her back.
Oh, sorry. Did I cut out for a second?
You're back. You're good. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just a second. You're fine.
Okay. So,
baby sister.
Anyway, my baby sister, like, she was like my real life baby doll, right? I was like, oh my gosh, I want to feed her. I want to sing to her like when she goes to sleep, and like rock her in her crib, and like, So, she was like my child, and I could never, ever, knowing that she is watching my music and that there's other kids watching my music, expose myself in that manner. Because, and I even thought about making a video on my YouTube channel about this. I probably will within the next couple of days. So this is just a prerequisite to that. But have you looked on Instagram lately? Have you just gone through the Explore page for a second?
I don't really do Explore page too much. I usually do just my feed.
Dude,
I'll get suggestions, but
yeah, it's fucking filthy. It's disgusting. You might as well open up a tab to a website I'm not even gonna say the name of, because I know that they're probably
yeah.
But I mean, it is just it's disgusting, and I can't stand for people doing that, especially knowing like you got kids watching. Can you chill out, dog? For real? You relax?
Well, I'm sure we can pick a certain female artist that burned her bridges. That's all she's riding coattails on.
I'm not gonna like names.
Yeah. No, I know, and I haven't either. I've really avoided saying anything about it, but I haven't reacted to her stuff as much, and it's not that I didn't like her music. It's just that I'm not with the burning bridges. I'm not with the talking shit for clout. And then you just see, it's like, dude, you're just literally exploiting your body for this. And it's sad.
Well, like I said, for me,
one I'm looking forward to hearing more from is Stormy. Stormy Lee's got some fire shit. And I'm kind of waiting on her to drop something big, but
dude, this dog is, I'm sorry, I'm ADD as hell.
You're fine.
Like,
as long as you can talk and play with the dog, I don't care.
He's wrestling with the air right now, and he's like bouncing around.
You got a husky. What do you expect?
Well, he's not my dog sitting right now. He's not my dog, but he's so like.
Oh, I got you.
He's all over the place right now, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to focus, please. But
right.
But no, like for me, it's not just in the country rap genre. Like I don't want to call out any like specific names because I'm not that kind of person. Like,
I respect that. And
and I just want to say like more on any platform, any music. I mean, nowadays, like, bro, this is so fucking twisted, but you see, like, drag queens doing children's events. And it's like, do you know where these drag events, like, started out? Like, do you know, like, what those actually are? In way, like, those performances and what they're meaning and what they're insinuating and stuff. And it's like, we're exposing the youth to stuff way too early. Like, and
we've allowed sexualization to get way too far in society.
Right. And I feel,
and it's
I guess,
not just that subsect, it's even, you know, what we've allowed kids to watch, and the fact that like WAP and everything else is like normal elementary school kid type shit. And it's like, really?
It's
no.
like, dude, when I was growing up, I wasn't even allowed to watch Harry Potter. Like, Harry Potter was like witchcraft. It was the devil. You're not allowed to watch that. And I wasn't allowed to watch like Jerry Springer or Steve Wilkos, but it was on like the free cable thing that we had. You know, whatever. And so I grew up watching shit like I Love Lucy and MASH and Hogan's Heroes, like old school stuff.
Andy Griffith.
Yeah. And back in the day, like the Brady Bunch, that was, I'm pretty sure that show was the very first ever before seen TV kiss, where the wife and the husband kissed.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I might be wrong on that. So I might be wrong on that. But on like a TV.
You could be right, though. I mean, honestly, that I think of it, I can't recall anything else. And I remember watching WGN where it was like all them old shows that was like the shows that I watched. Like, it wasn't like they were old. They were just, that was what we watched.
And nowadays it's so normalized. Like when my, let's say, like when my family would get movies back when you had, like when Netflix first came out, you had to actually order the disc and all that good stuff. And my mama thought Harry Potter was going to corrupt my mind. She bought me Grand Theft Auto and took it back the same day. That aged quickly, didn't it, man?
Oh, you'd like that.
That's great. Yeah, no, I was 100% like not allowed to watch Harry Potter, but my aunt, she loved the books, and so she let us watch it at her house. And so I was obsessed with that growing up. But needless to say, like, nowadays it's so normalized. And I'm just scrolling on Instagram, you know, I'm trying to engage more with the people in my comment section with this release because I know everybody's excited. And I happen to go on the Discover page. I'm looking up, you know, what's going on. I'm looking up like hashtag country rap, hashtag, you know, new music and stuff. And then I'm seeing just on the Explore page this filth. It's like every other, I quite literally mean every other post on the Explore page has some sort of sexual innuendo to it. And it's filthy. And I can't stand, you know, it is what it is. If that's what you want to be, if you're confident in your body and you want to show that, that's great. But how can you do that knowing you got little kids watching? Knowing that they don't know what that kind of stuff means, or you're going to be the one who's going to introduce that to them? Absolutely fucking not. Not, at least not from what I'm...
That's definitely a problem, and I don't understand why we believe in sexualizing at such a young age.
Yeah.
And
I guess... I guess I held country rap to a higher standard, like, because I feel, I mean, when you're from the country, when you're from the South, when you're whatever, I mean, that's like the one thing is modesty. That's like the biggest thing is being modest, and that's something that you take pride in, at least here in the South.
You know, I know it's something that people in the South often say, oh, it's the South, but like, I think a lot of it is country. You know, and like
that's why I try
country, Wisconsin, right. No, I'm just clarifying because I know there's still people out there that often identify as the South, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of the Southern rappers are the ones that I relate to is because, you know, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, country Pennsylvania, or country New York, I'm even learning about now, which I never even thought of, and like all these really country areas, are all very similar to that. It's a fact that you're not big city. You're not around the hustle and bustle and all the mainstream BS. You're, you know, up until data age, you know, up until internet, we're all isolated from that shit.
Right.
You know, we had the radio, and the radio was highly, highly censored by FCC.
Yeah.
Eminem was shit. It was a lottery day if you got an Eminem song on the radio. You know, but
can you stop being a crackhead? Come here. He's like, did you see the camera move like a couple seconds
my
ago?
best friend's dog's a husky too. That's why I laugh, because her husky actually listens better to me than she does to her.
He's being a crackhead. He's looking at the light and he's like, oh my god, this thing is wicked.
Dude,
and he's like,
Coca, Wisconsin Dells is dope as fuck. Like that's like, that was the water park capital of America is what we always thought of it as. And let me tell you, like going to Noah's Ark and shit like that. Yeah. Love the Dells, man. Love the Dells. If I go back there, that's one of the places my dad knows. Like if they can get some condo time down there, I'm all over it.
Dude, I need to travel more, dude. And that's one thing. Like, I don't know how quickly or how big this music is going to get, but that's one thing I look forward to so much is
traveling. Dude, I'm telling you, like, get with Demon and get with who else has come out this way? Like, Murph has come out this way. And, you know, there's people that are coming out this way. Adam Calhoun came out this way, but I don't know where he's at. I know he's trying to do some baby time right now, so and family time and shit. So there's that. Yeah. But like there's quite a few artists that have come out this way. Church is the one person that it's like, dude, the day he decides to do a concert, I'm gonna tell work I'm either getting vacation or I'm out. Like I'm sick, guys. Sorry. Like I don't care what emergency you got, I'm out.
Just be like, yeah, I'm expecting a baby. I need some maternity leave.
Yeah, right.
And I'd be like, hey, don't
They all know I do this channel and shit like that too. So
that's awesome,
them,
dude.
Like, my favorite artist is. Well, I had to warn them because that's one of the reasons why I go by this moniker and why I stay anonymous for the most part. Like I'm sure there's some people that'll sleuth me and figure it out, but I'm avoiding it at all costs because I know the drama of the internet. You might not know the drama of true crime, but there's people in chat that do. And I'll tell you, if I had a real name, they'd already went for it. And they'd have tried to go for my job. And I've already made sure, like I've got myself in now with coming back to this job that I came back to. And
I'm fucked, bro.
I've got to the point where I told them flat out, I was like, hey, just so you know, like if drama ever comes this way, I hope we can, you know, like handle it and not hold it against me. But
I'm screwed then, man. Like my whole life is on the internet, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like everybody, my first.
But it depends on what kind of jobs you have. Like Kurt ran into that shit too, and he's talked about that. So now he's like, it was almost like a godsend. He says the job he has now is way better. You know, like, and he's. I don't know if you've seen his welds, but he's got some bomb ass fucking welds, dude.
He, Captain Kurt touches home for me a little bit because he really. I relate to him on such a level because. I'm pretty sure, I might be mistaken, but I think I was the first video he ever reacted to. That might be a lie, but I'm pretty sure, I think that might be it. But I just have this personal level with him, like, because that dude would work all fucking day. He's got a family, kids, and then he would get in that fucking studio, didn't matter, like he would be in there all fucking night. He would do his shit and he was consistent about it.
He's grinding, bro.
And
he's
grinding on top of it and doing the damn thing. And I was watching this stuff, I'm like, damn, I gotta put myself in check. I got to worry about me. I'm only worried about one. And I'm over here lacking. So I respect the hell out of that. And I also respect it because he is in the welding industry, and which I don't weld, but I worked a little bit in there. I know how fucking tough it is.
I'm around it, yeah. I don't weld either, but I'm around it. I've told Kurt, and he's like, I'll teach you.
I'm pretty sure he told me like one time that Struggle Jennings even complimented his welding at one point.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Dude, I showed it to one of my, like, his jobs actually to be a welder. And he's like, bro, I wish I could stack dimes like that. I was like, God damn, dude, we're screwed if you can't do that. But yeah, I told Kurt about that. He just laughed. He's like, well, thank you. I was like, dude, they look like professional, like there's no flaws you see from somebody who's not, I can't claim to be able to audit that shit, but I'd be willing to bet you throw an x-ray on that shit, he's probably perfect.
There you go.
I was around a lot in the power industry. Like that's like they'll have a bunch of Boilermakers go in a coal boiler and stuff.
In the what?
And they'll in the power industry. So
Yeah,
coal boiler where they burn coal and shit.
Yeah.
So when they do an outage and they have to replace pipes and fix leaks and different things, then they go in and they actually have like x-ray techs that bring this big ass radiation device and like shoot the shit so they can shoot the welds and everything.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. They like inspect that shit. Well, because you fire up, it's pressurized in well, it wouldn't quite be like that, but yeah, they get a leak and then they got to come right back down, and it's that's no bueno. That costs them millions, so it's cheaper just to pay couple $100,000 for x-rays than it is to fire up and cost yourself millions for being down another day.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen, speaking of power, have you seen that documentary? What's it called? It's called something Island.
3 Mile?
Is it 3 Mile or 2 Mile Island or something like that? And it's
3 Mile Island is Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That was wild. Like I like to watch documentary. I'm a huge documentary person.
I understood fully what happened too. You know what happened?
A little bit. I did a lot of research into it after watching it, and so I don't really know.
If I understood correctly, it was basically a valve that they fucked up.
Okay, wow.
Either the valve was fucked up or somebody opened it or however the hell. And that's what caused the scare. And I thought it was just a scare. Watching that documentary was actually what made me realize that it wasn't just a scare. People actually got radiation release.
Like, well, they wanted to make it look like it was just a scare. That's what they wanted people to think. And it's
right. You had all these high up like management people and shit, and then the local government that was trying to cover it up.
Right. 100%. I don't know. You said power. At first, I thought you said powder, and I was like, powder, like what, powder coating.
Well, powder's a decent description too, because I did explosives, but yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah. I was actually an explosive supervisor for 4 of those years. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So don't fuck with Wisco, Madman. Gotcha. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, I love playing with dynamite and det cord, but I mean, after a while, it's like anything. You get used to it. That's why I like 4th of July. I'm on call this week, and everybody's like, "How can you be on call?" I'm like, "Dude, the fireworks ain't that much." They're like, "What do you mean?"
That's what you were saying.
Dude, I used to do way bigger.
You were saying in the live stream earlier, you're like, "Yeah, my favorite fireworks are this," and I was like, "You know the names of them, dog? I just like the one that screams. Like I don't know a damn name for the single firework, but it was so cool that you knew everything."
I shot dynamite and det cord for profession for 6 solid years, and the 3 years before that, I had helped out with explosives. So, when it comes to fireworks, robots and shit like that. Yeah. Coca's talking about military and shit. EODs in Afghanistan. I worked with a lot of EODs, Coca. I've learned a lot of things that are, probably things I can't repeat, but yeah, it's amazing the stuff EODs have done. Like I talked to somebody who was an EOD on Clinton's, both Clintons, but mainly female Clinton, during Bill's presidency, was actually on their Secret Service team. So yeah, it's interesting stuff, and knowing that Hillary's not the greatest. I mean, we already knew that, but
maybe you should send her an email about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That'd go over well.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, right.
But no, I mean, how does somebody even get into that kind of work? I feel like this has turned into an interview about you, because now I'm intrigued. I'm like, what is that?
It's not the first time. I think Yucky had some questions, and it's just a BS session. It's Hangout, but the only hope is that as I express a little bit about myself. It brings stuff, you know, that you have in common. But
Yeah.
yeah, the way I got into it was actually I got in trouble as a kid. I was 19, got in trouble, and got a couple misdemeanors and shit. Quick summary, anybody who's interested, well, whatever. If you've watched my videos on my channel, you've heard the full story. But so
Just be like,
I got in trouble. I was on probation and stuff like that, and had to like get a 40-hour-a-week job and shit. That's actually how I cut off my finger, is working tire recycling.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I never knew that shit. Dude,
Yeah.
what a cool guy. Okay,
so actually,
many-
funny, Coca mentions 2012. That's when I cut off that tip of my finger. But you got out in 2012. Well, thank you for your service, sir. I appreciate that. I really do. But actually, interesting story. I found out from quite a few people who I've worked with that usually the thank you for your service, not everybody feels the same about that statement. They're like, well, thank you, but you know, it's kind of a, yeah, but I still do appreciate their service. Like I think people need more respect for the military. I really do. It's not the military that we have a problem with. It's what the politicians have them do. But anyway, so got into tire recycling, got off probation, finally had the chance. I had a buddy that I had worked with at Home Depot. We're just whatever associates, and we worked at a Home Depot, and he had explosive technician as his job title at this company that I ended up working for, which he wasn't even actually on the explosive team. That's the best part. But it intrigued me to join anyway, so I got into industrial cleaning.
Bullshit on though. It's
yeah. Well, he helped, but he didn't know jack shit. Like in my 9 years, I ended up doing way more than he ever did. But anyway, so industrial cleaning, and I pushed to be able to do explosives. Within the 6 months of being at that company, I helped out. I helped open a shop for a different company, and still doing industrial cleaning, which the other side was like industrial vacuum, high pressure water, abrasive blasting, which was just like grit blasting, shooting grit, kind of like you do on a car and shit. It's a much bigger application. And then dry ice blasting, I've done all kinds of stuff. But eventually I came back to the original company and moved to Colorado. And that's when I went just explosives for those 6 years. And for the last 4 years, a year ago I left, or a year and a half ago I left or so. And I had done explosives for 4 of those years. I was a supervisor, so I'm actually licensed in like 7 different states.
You the bomb, bro.
Yeah. It was pretty fun, but now I'm just trying to get into some local shit here. So, huh?
I wouldn't. Okay, here's what we're not gonna do. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second.
But I want to play.
Yeah, they're gonna up there because they're gonna knock this ring light over. I'm gonna take you up there with me.
Yep, you're fine.
All right, come on, little badass youngins. Damn, he just jumped over both dogs. Freaking
that's a husky.
Damn dinosaur in here. Fuck. Where's the little one? All right, y'all make a ruckus up here, not down here. It's funny. I have a little baby gate, so they're not supposed to come down here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and the
got
husky
you,
just
bitch.
cleared the baby gate.
Got you, bitch. He's like, man, son of a gun.
He's just mad that the landing's difficult. Otherwise, he'd clear that gate.
He's not prepared for that.
Oh.
But anyway, I would have never known that about you, dude. I didn't even know about your finger. Like, that's just such. You just are full of stories, bro. I love these kinds of people who've done a lot of things or have experience in a lot of different areas. Like, you were in band, you know a lot about music, you know a lot about power, a lot about instruments, about people, politics, that's really cool to me, man.
Well, I mean, I lost track of how many jobs I've had, but it's probably somewhere around 30.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And I did one of those jobs for 9 years. So I've had 7
cool.
since I moved. I worked at the airport too.
Oh, shit. I've never even been on an airplane.
That
Oh,
That's it'll be a different experience for you.
going on an airplane? Dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like roller coasters, but there ain't no fucking railing on that motherfucker. I'm literally thinking about like sweating, like I'm gonna be thinking about Malaysia Airlines the whole time. I'm just like, oh shit, here we go.
all you gotta think about, and this is like you'll see people freak out about turbulence.
Oh,
and the biggest thing, like when the plane's shaking like that, just know that like they're gonna ride it out. You might hear the pilot come over the intercom. It's normal for them to come over the intercom. Hey folks, sorry about the ride, whatever. We're gonna adjust our altitude, and because they're trying to get out of that rift. So the biggest thing is just number one, you can't control anything once you're on an airplane anyway. So number two is just take a breath, listen to some music, watch a movie. Do that kind of shit. Like I do that all the time. When I did explosives, I've been to 40 states, and I used to fly pretty much twice a month minimum. So
that's insane, bro. I've literally never I've never been on an airplane before in my life, and I don't know. I feel like it'll be a different experience when I do, but I don't know, dude. I don't feel like I would get nervous per se if I actually look at it. I just think if I hit any turbulence, I'd be like, oh shit, what do I do? But I don't know. I do like roller coasters. I'm not afraid of heights, but I don't know. It's different.
If you don't mind looking out the window, then you don't need to be over the wing. But if you're afraid of heights by any means, like you look down and everything's so tiny and
yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, man, can we roll this bitch down or something? I'd be like, can we roll this window down? Oh man.
Yeah. Crazy. But like takeoff's always fun. I used to love takeoff, the whole back into the seat and everything, because ultimately you're flying at about 600 miles an hour. So
got me fucked up, dude. I swear.
That's your ground speed, yeah. Like anywhere from like 5 to 600, yeah.
Yeah, I get on the interstate and some motherfucker going so fucking slow. I have really bad road rage. And I get up to about like 90, 100 and I'm like trying to pass somebody. I'm like, oh, now slow down, man. That was a little scary. I might get pulled over, whatever. 600?
Yeah.
Dog, get me fucked.
Driving's pretty much my main profession. That's like, although I've done everything, like since I went into industrial cleaning, that was like by 2014, I had my CDL, and that's pretty much what I've sat back on is the CDL ever since. So any jobs, like even working at the airport, I was fueling airplanes, which was driving a fuel tanker around and stuff like that. So
that's freaking dope, man.
Yeah.
But here I go saying dope like you do all the time. I'm the same way.
One of my friends just told me, she's like, you might want to switch it up from saying fire. And I was like, I know, I kind of lean back on certain phrases. I'm sorry.
Say that's so
but sometimes it just is. Yeah, right.
That's so fat. Like, you know that movie? No, that'd be great.
No. I do know that movie.
Man, like I haven't worked. I don't know. I feel like I learned a lesson from every job that I've worked, but I never like spent a whole lot of time at one job because I got so burnt out. Like I would put my all into a job, and then I would do really well. My supervisors or my managers would be like, "Oh, man," but then they expect so much of you after that, and it's
if you're a good worker nowadays, they utilize you until you get tapped
they take advantage of you, bro. Yeah.
Fortunately, my current job is not that way. They do utilize me, but they utilize me with respect, if that makes sense. So
that's really good.
That's a big difference. The other difference is, like the first time I was at this job, the reason why I came back is like my grandma died in 2021. It happens for everybody.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing was I go to my supervisor and I say, hey, like I just found out she's got 2 weeks. Like I'm gonna try to plan something. What do I do? Can I get FMLA? Whatever. And he just goes, plan it, schedule it. And I was like, you don't want me to get approved? Or he's like, you got the time? I was like, well, yeah, I guess I got enough vacation time. He's like, then just plan it. I'll get it. I'll get the rest of it settled for you. You just go do you. Worry about your grandma. I was like, all right. Which unfortunately she passed, and I ended up going back for the funeral instead. But nonetheless, the entire time I was able to 100% be there and not even have to consider the job. The paycheck was there, you know?
Wow.
So that was like, it just, any other job I've ever had, it doesn't compare. People can talk, you know, you got your coworkers everywhere. They always talk shit. They always this, that, and the other, whatever.
Yes.
I don't like this, or dude, if you have worked for other jobs, they don't work like this, you know? Like,
they don't. I feel like
so,
that's where, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm really sorry.
No, you're good. I was done.
Okay. I was saying, like, I found that a lot with jobs, especially when I worked in retail. Like, retail fucking, because people treat you, they forget that you're a person in retail or in the food industry, and they treat you as just that, someone who's in retail or the food industry. They don't consider you as a person, or they expect like this, that, and the other. I worked at a Tanger outlets around here. I don't know if you guys have heard about that out there.
Yep. The Dells has one or two of them.
Okay. So I worked at, my first job ever was I worked at a Subway. Mm-hmm. And that was freaking awful. More
corporate shit.
What?
It's corporate shit.
Yeah.
Every corporate job I've ever had pretty much works the same way.
Yeah. I was working there. I was making like $7 an hour, and really it was just so I could pay my car insurance and then go shopping and not have to ask mom for money. And then it got to the point where I was like at 15, 16, my mom started teaching me how to use money, and she's like, all right, learn how to buy your own groceries, learn how to plan, learn how to budget. I still am terrible at that. But so it was tough. You know, I hated that job because people come in there and they're so mean. And if you mess up one thing, it's all your fault and you're this. I ended up leaving there. I wrote on the back of a receipt my 2-week notice, and I left it in the deposit. And I said, I'm out of here. I already got a new job. I'm done.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Bitch.
Appreciate you, Cope. Have a good night, buddy.
Oh, see you, man. Thank you for coming in and as long as you did too, man. That's awesome. Thank you.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you tuning in the whole time.
Well, then the manager from American Eagle would come and get her lunch all the time at this Subway. And there was one day, I think I was just talking shit about my job to my coworker, and she was like, well, have you thought about leaving? And I was like, only every day, you know, just joking. And she was like, oh, why don't you come work for me? You know, we're hiring right now. And I was like, oh, word. They make it sound so great and so fun. And this was back before, like, American Eagle didn't have sizes for, like, bigger girls. It was all really small, little itty bitty clothing. It was kind of like a Abercrombie and Fit, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I struggled a little bit there because I was a lot bigger than I am now. But then from there, I went on to, I had some issues with the management. I can't remember if it was my grandfather passing or somebody. It was really hard to get some scheduling because I had something personal going on. And she was like, yeah, no, like, this is the schedule. And I was like, okay, fuck you. So I left there. And then from there, I went to like a hair color store. And then from that place, I went over to, I was out of a job for a while. I went and worked back at Tanger Outlets at a shoe store at Sperry. And then I started working at the welding and fabrication warehouse. I was making a lot more money there. And I loved working at the warehouse. I loved, like, the people I worked with. Yeah, it was hard work, but I felt like I was doing something. I felt like it was one of the blue collar jobs, you know, and I just took pride in it because it's like, man, I'm not just selling clothes. Like, I'm working with my hands. I'm creating things. I'm doing things, you know.
Yeah.
And all the guys from the shop really were excited about my music. Now, there's some of them that would like pick fun of me or make fun of it, but from there, then I the gun store, and then from the gun store, I started working at Verizon, and I recently left Verizon because I've got some time period where I'm still going to be getting, funds together. But now I've got this time to really focus in on music, and I'm so lucky that I
Yeah.
have that capability now. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I've worked some crazy fucking jobs, and you just learn so much about people. You learn so much about different areas and different things. But I like when people share that diversity, and I'm so, I'll probably go back and watch that video you were talking about where you just talk about different things, because I like hearing people's stories. That's one thing. That's why
Yeah.
I like these interviews, and or not interviews, but
That's one of
hangouts.
the reasons. That's one of the things I've tried to do with my reactions a little bit more is really connecting. Like when church, I wanted to kind of connect with Upchurch a little bit on that situation with his mom and family and whatnot. Because like I said, I don't talk to mine anymore, so I could kind of relate to that. And it was just like, I don't want to put him on blast. I don't want to like share it, the little bits and pieces that he has talked about. And then finally he came out with actual videos, and I was already checking his vlogs out, so it kind of worked out convenient for
Yeah.
me. Because I exposed way more about my relationship with my mom than I ever thought I really would, as far as, yeah, because it's just something that, like, it doesn't define me, and it's like, I'm not here to try to put her on blast. Like, I moved on. I don't care.
Right.
But
No,
it was still something where I was like, dude, I knew there was something I could relate with you about. And like, for instance, Fallen, the song Fallen that he
yeah.
did with his mom. Dude, that shit used to make me tear up, because I won't call it jealousy or envy, but it was almost like I was just happy for him for how good a relationship he had with his mom.
Right.
And then when it all fell apart, I almost felt more connection to him, because I was just like,
Right.
bro, I feel you.
No, I totally get
Like,
that. I totally get that. Like, I always was jealous of, which me and my dad are close now, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
if I needed something, I could go see him, and we could talk.
Same with my dad. Yep.
Yeah, but growing up, like, I resented the fact that I didn't get to be a daddy's girl, and I didn't get to go fishing and get to do all this stuff. And then I grew up, and I
Yeah.
went back home. And I wasn't. But I was 19 years old before I really got to form a bond, like a close relationship with my dad. And then
Yeah.
he had other kids of, well, our family. He had another life, another family to take care of. And so growing up, I mean, that was hard to understand. That was hard. But now, that doesn't affect me anymore. I've accepted that. And now, yeah, my relationship with my dad started a little bit later. Like, my real close relationship, getting to know him, and, because growing up, all I really remember was being on the road, going back and forth, state to state, state to state.
Yeah.
And so it
Divorced
was,
kid, I get it.
yeah.
I used to have to fly to DC all the time, so I get it.
Me, dude. Now I
What
really
up, Kursuma?
Oh, somebody in there in the chat?
Yeah, I was just saying hi to chat. Yeah,
Okay.
just somebody else came in.
But yeah, I didn't even get, like, you say on flights. I could never do that. That would blow my freaking mind. But now I
was
feel
flying at the age of 15 by myself.
couldn't. Well, and
I am fully aware of how the unattended minor program works with the airlines.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't even know what that is, bro. I know it's
so basically what that means is your parents get to see you off. They get a special pass even to go into the gate, but they hand you off to an assigned person that's trained for that kind of thing. And then that person takes you on the flight, gets you seated, leaves you alone, lets you do your thing. But obviously we both know they're sitting there fucking watching your ass the whole time. Whatever. There's assigned people, just like U.S. Marshals. There's U.S. Marshals on almost every flight.
I got a glass of champagne on my first class flight, and then
yeah, right.
apple juice.
But no lie, like you think you're alone on a flight. You're not. Since 2001, I would say that probably 75% or more, and it's probably fluctuated over time, but a vast majority of the time there's usually a federal marshal on every flight.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Because they're waiting for you to try something.
It's not cool that we have to have that, but it's cool because I didn't know that prior.
Put it this way, don't try to go to the cockpit.
No.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm one of those people that will stand up. I do not give a shit if I see somebody like obviously causing an issue. Bet your sweet ass you better have more training than I do. Because I'm going to come up behind your ass and choke you out, and that's it.
No luck with Wisco, man. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many people that have training now, so you got to realize also in doing that, like, you better wait for that person to be, like in my case, I'm just a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but it means I know jiu-jitsu. Yeah, that sounds impressive. All it means is I know what the hell's going on. It doesn't mean like I start rolling with purple belts and shit like that. I'm getting, well, hell, half the blue belts can kick my ass. Right. So it's just a matter of I understand the movements. That's it. And that's saying more than the average population. But nonetheless, there's a lot more people that train nowadays. Yeah, but you spoke a lot of your growing up. I just kind of wanted to riff off that. Yeah. So you were talking about jobs now with cell phone company and stuff like that. What got you into rap in the first place? This is a question that I kind of wanted to ask way before, but now we've kind of segued back to that point.
That's a great question. So there's a lot of different ways I could probably answer that, but I guess it started obviously with a love for country rap. I didn't grow up listening to rap music in general. I literally grew up listening to country, a little bit of like stuff that was on the radio, but never like really real rap. And then my brother introduced me to Ryan stuff one day. We were in, I'll never forget it because it just blew my mind. He was like, dude, you gotta listen to this shit. And he plays Rolling Stone. And I was like, yo, that's cool. But I don't smoke weed. Like, I'm 15. I don't fuck. I'm 16 years old. I don't know. I can't remember. But my brother's
and
like,
how old are you now?
I'm 22. 22.
Okay.
So I was like, man, this is great. Because I never listened to rap because I couldn't really relate to it. And I wasn't allowed to listen to some of the stuff because just growing up, like, you're not allowed to.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I obviously knew like Eminem and whatnot, but so I want to say, so it started with just the love for the genre. I never wanted to be a rapper though. Like when I was listening to the music, I just liked the music, and it wasn't until my senior year or junior, I think it was my senior year of high school, I was in this speech and debate class. And we were reading this book, and part of one of these assignments that my teacher gave us was that we had to basically make a rap battle and act as one of the characters from the book, and we had to compete against another character. And I was kind of weird in high school. Like I was kind of weird. Like I was friends with some popular people. I was friends with some of the people you wouldn't consider very popular. I was friends with everybody. I at least knew somebody in kind of all the areas. And so, but I wasn't like popular or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was like kind of more in the middle, maybe closer to the bottom, but, so we get this group together and it's just a bunch of girls, and the teacher puts me up against like this football player who was a big football player on the, football was like a huge thing in my high school. I wasn't the biggest fan, but it was the big thing for high school. And I was like, oh my God, like this dude, he's about to whoop my ass. Like I just know he listens to all the rap music. I don't know shit. Yeah. Like I just like poetry. Like poetry was my favorite subject in school. I was terrible at math, terrible at everything else, but poetry, I loved it. And English.
Which is funny because that's probably why the teacher picked rap battles, is to get kids interested in poetry. Yeah. Because that's what I love about rap.
Yeah. And so everybody in my group was like, bro, you got to do it. And I was like, bro, no, dude, I can't. So I remember the kid does this little rap, and he does it for like 10 seconds. And I was like, I got like 2 pages worth of shit, bro. Like, what am I? I was like, bro, I even made like you know Kill Shot, the the gosh,
The song.
and Machine Gun Kelly.
And yes,
Okay, so
yes.
I made.
I have his EST tatted on my chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I made, so the character that I was going up against another character, and the character in the book was a dragon. So I took a picture of a dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, and I made the fucking album cover to Kill Shot. And
That's awesome.
it was like I had this whole thing. I told her, I was like, put it up on the board, man, you know. And then I got
Bro, you went full performance and he went
no. I was like, I'm about to make a show out of this shit. But I was also so nervous, like so fucking nervous.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking down at my paper the whole time, and I start going into it. You know, I play the track and I start rapping, and I'm just looking down the whole time. And it's trash, but everybody in my class thought it was the coolest shit. And I look up, and my teacher's like, "Oh my gosh!" And all the kids have got their Snapchat out, and after
Bro,
that class,
I want that video so fucking bad.
dude, I don't want that shit to ever surface because it was so bad. I was like, why do you guys like, I literally sat back, I was like, dude, that was so fucking terrible. I think I have that video somewhere. I'm pretty sure I had one of my friends send it to me. But it was crazy. So then I left there, I was like, man, like that was kind of fun. Like everybody enjoyed that. I didn't think could do that. And it was, like I said, it was really bad. At least compared to what I have now. But
Yeah.
so even then I wasn't thinking about being a rapper, but that's kind of when I discovered, like, oh, okay, so this is how you do this. This is how you manipulate words like that. And then it wasn't until I graduated high school, went to college. I was going to study marketing. I wanted to learn how to do advertisements and marketing and all that good stuff. And I dropped out after my first semester. I didn't have any friends. I was like, I don't fucking belong here. This is all a bunch of sorority girls. There's not a single hick motherfucker out here. Like,
you felt out of place. I get it.
100%. And so I left and I went back to my dad's. I moved back down to my dad's. And that's when COVID hit. And so at my dad's, I was just like, man, I can't even get a job now. Everything's closed. Like, this is kind of a fucking failure. And so I started talking to him about the YouTube channel. I had been doing my fishing YouTube channel since I was, I want to say, a sophomore in high school. But I was telling my dad about the channel, and he was like, yeah, like, we could do that. Now we got all this free time, right? We got 2 weeks to go do whatever we want. And so happy-go-lucky doing these fishing videos. And then all of a sudden, COVID turned into this big thing. And so I started posting, I think I was doing singing covers. And I told my dad, I was like, I think I want to do music. I think I want to do maybe sing. Like, I always sung. Like, I sung in the church growing up. I was singing in the shower, like, to my shampoo bottles and shit. And my dad kind of looked at me. He was like, well, I don't know, Jess. Like, I thought fishing videos was, like, your thing. And, you know, Jacob, like, music is more Jacob's thing, which is my brother. And he's really good at playing guitar. And everyone thought, like, Jacob's going to be the one who's going to be doing music. And of course, my stubborn ass was like, oh, fuck no. And now I'm really going to be an artist. Like, and I don't know. I can never tell if my dad was being, like, having reverse psychology with me by saying that. Or if he was just in that moment, like, wanting me to focus on something I told him I was passionate about. And sure enough, this one's kind of like a weird thing to talk about, but I went through a stage. I got really overweight. I gained a lot of weight. And I went through a stage of, like, the big thing on the internet was to do this fasting stuff. And so I had, like, starved myself for, like, 4 days trying to do this fasting thing. And after 4 days, I actually felt great, you know? Like, they say you're supposed to do fasting. It helps, like, with your body and stuff. First of all, I'm going to tell everybody that's a fucking lie. So don't try it. I ended up going for a walk. I came back inside, and I was trying to fix something to eat. Because I was like, I kind of burnt some energy on an empty stomach, and I passed out. And my dad, like, had to force Sprite down my throat, and it was a scary moment. But after that, I had a really bad relationship with food. This all has a means to an
Yeah.
end. So I know I'm
Yeah.
going on a tangent, but it was like every time I sat down to eat, every time I would finish eating, I would feel sick. I would feel dizzy. I literally felt sick 24/7, just all the time. Headaches, room spinning. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was going crazy. And I went and saw all these doctors, and I told my mom, I was like, man, like, I've been to the hospital twice now down here, and now I owe like all this money just from getting an IV and stuff, and them running all these tests on me, and like, so I went back to North Carolina to be closer to Duke and closer to where like the doctors are, and I remember going to an ears, nose, throat doctor because they said that maybe they might be able to give you some information on what's going on. And this guy was like, have you ever considered that maybe you just have anxiety? And I was like, I could have punched him square in his fucking mouth because I was for sure something was wrong with me. I was like, nah, dude. I was like, there's no way that I'm making this up in my head, that this is just something that like is in my brain. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I literally feel dizzy. I feel sick. There's something wrong. And when I found out it was anxiety, it fucked with me really bad. So I moved back to North Carolina. I stayed here, dealt with it, got better. I spent like 2 months just trying to, because I felt sick for so long. Spent like 2 months just trying to tell myself, okay, like this is just in my head. This is just. I was getting anxiety, and I had a bad relationship with food because of the time that I passed out. So anytime I ate, it just made me feel like I was gonna pass out. It was like those symptoms of like passing out. It was all anxiety. It was all in my head.
Yeah.
And so I listened to a lot of music. I heavily was like watching videos, and I was in this free time, like of me trying to, get better and whatnot, and trying to remind myself that this is just anxiety. I got really into music, and I started working at that hair color store, finally starting to get back into normal life. This is when COVID started to open up a little bit. I think I just decided one day, I was like, I think I'm gonna throw out a song. And I don't know how. I didn't know what 808 was. I didn't know what ad libs were. I didn't know how to even really make a beat. I remember spending countless nights crying my eyes out because I just like I can't fucking do this. I want so badly to have a beat, but I can't pay for one. I don't have the money, and I don't know how to make it. And that's when I got into YouTube. I finally made that song, I Will, and I posted it on TikTok, and I got not a huge reaction, but I got a good reaction. And I was like, yo, like, this is cool. I had just gotten through a breakup, and I was kind of flexing. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, I put out a song now. Out on this gravy train, whatever. And so then it got to the point where I started doing more music. I started doing Hidden Valley. I started doing Rhyme My Reason. And then it just became this thing, and people are like, then I started singing more. And they're like, why do you even do rap? Like, do country music. And I was like, I don't know, man. There's just something about it. Like, I love it. It's so much fun. And it's like therapy for me because I don't feel, like, in my heart of hearts, I don't feel like I'm a savage person. Like, I would never go up to somebody and, like, in my rap lyrics, just be like, yeah, fuck you, I'm this, that, and the other, and, whatever. But yeah. I love to be that way on the track. Like, it's almost therapeutic. It's like everything in my mind gets out on the track. And that's kind of just how it all started. And now I feel like I've only been doing this for like two and a half years maybe. And it's already, like, some people do this for 10, 15 years. Some people do this their entire life. And I'm really lucky to have gotten this far with the little knowledge and the little resources that I've had. And I've always tried to remind myself, like, okay, you've done this much with this little bit. Imagine what it's going to be like when you've got the resources, when you've got the team, you've got people who know what they're talking about. And so that's just, I know that was a really long story, and I'm sorry to, talk that long, but that's really how it all how it all came about.
That was perfect. There's a
Yeah.
reason I didn't say much is because you were on a fucking roll there. So I was like, this is like no joke. This is clippable. Like definitely like make a reel out of this shit and really because you were really opening up and you were really telling your story, and I appreciate that so much. And
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. I can talk to you a little bit more about it in private, but I definitely would like to see that video. That's to see where you were, to see where you are, future 5-10 years, like that is such a huge thing. I mean, again, dude, I'll reference Upchurch, like look at the progression and you can see it here.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to find a video somewhere. I know I've got it because I think I asked one of my friends for, I think I was going to try to use it into my Rhyme My Reason music video, but I saw it and I was like, oh my God, this rap is so bad. Like it was so bad.
Speaking of, Rhyme to Reason is the first one I checked out. I looked it up earlier and I just didn't think to. Yeah. So Rhyme to Reason is the first one I did 6 months ago.
Dude, that one was so fun. I remember trying to shoot the music video for that. Number one, I didn't know how to fucking dress. I was trying to dress, but I was trying to like be have some sort of vibe, and I just didn't know how to dress. But now I'm like, I'm just gonna be me. But
yeah.
But then like that music video was so unplanned. It was hilarious. We were trying to go. We went to this arcade bar downtown, and we were like, "Hey, can we film something?" And they were like, "Okay." And I was like, "Word, let me go get these guns and like wave them around or something, you know." And it finally came to the point. I was like, you know what, like this could be a whole video, or the whole reason I wrote the song. Like we could just use clips of all of the reaction channels, and I hope to bring that back and like maybe make that like as more channels get into react to my stuff, kind of just getting everybody involved, including you. Like there's a couple of who I would love to make that like a thing, like maybe like once a year, like with a certain release, like make that a thing.
Hell yeah.
I talked a little bit.
I mean, go ahead. You talked a little bit. What were you saying?
I was saying I talked a little bit to Father Son Reacts yesterday. I think you were in that live stream. And they had said, or I had stated, I was like, you know, a lot of the reaction channels, they get excited to watch what we make, like the artists themselves, like what we put out there, and they're like, oh man, did you see what Ryan dropped? Did you see what so-and-so dropped? Did you see what they dropped? But as artists, at least from my perspective, we get fucking thrilled to see what you have to say, because it's just that affirmation, and that's why I'm really your reaction of something different and see what you have to say about it. And your videos specifically, as well as Father Son, like I like that you guys pause and you put your input in it. Like you really, really talk about it and something that you're knowledgeable about, and you put that in there, because not only does that make the person learn a little bit more about the song, but it also makes the viewer fall in love with whoever they're watching as a reactor. Yeah. So, and I wish more reaction channels would do that. Like, tell us what you're gonna say, you know?
Yeah. So, I even hate it when I check out a song and I get to this point where I'm like, I've kind of been bobbing and vibing to the song, but I haven't, like, even if I paused, I just said, oh, that was dope, or that was a fire bar or something like that. I'm just like, man, I need more, like, sometimes you're just not in that headspace. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, especially when you start to get to the grind, like I did a couple months ago, where I was like 2 a days fucking dropping and dropping. I'm granted that's 14 videos I recorded on the weekend that I schedule out, but it's just, you know, you get to certain times where it's like, I don't even have a recording spot, or burnout starts to hit you or whatever. But
it really does.
This channel's gone so much further than I planned it. And not so much for initial purposes is sharing my inspiration and creating a side income, you know, right. But then it, like, before I even start creating that side income, I'm over here, like, all of a sudden I got, shout out to Mama Payday. I believe she was the one that actually set up my first interviews. Like, I think if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, she can correct
That's
me,
so
but
cool.
I'm pretty sure she came to me like, hey, do you want to do a sit down with like Payday and Cool Hand Luke? And I was like, fuck yeah, okay.
So awesome.
Like I'd
I didn't
never
know that.
thought of myself that way, you know?
That's really cool.
Like,
I did not know that. So that's
yeah,
really
and
cool.
then I went out of my way to like start trying to schedule with Yucky, and actually you were supposed to be one of the first ones.
Oh,
Like
that's
that
awesome.
was when I was setting up, it was Payday, you. Like that was okay, I'm going to start with these guys. I'm going to get to know them. Like they're progressing, they're doing great. Like I love listening to their shit. Like
Yeah.
let's get to know them at the early stages. But yeah, it was never even like Vic saying hi to me in chat and shit like that I never imagined that, you
Yeah.
know, like, and then talk about reactors that I looked up to. So I already had like Simba and not for my reacting, well, not for reactor to reactor relationship that he was like, this is cool, but like, dude, I lost my fucking shit when all of a sudden it's like Simba TV tagged you in a reel, and I'm like, did what now?
What?
And I'm like, so I'm like, okay, him and Arctic Hicks are the reason why I ever considered reacting. So, like, I get this tag that Simba tagged you in a video. I'm like, for what, bro? Like, what? Like, I hadn't even checked out his music in a minute. And it turned out he had just watched, he was watching on his big screen, and this is what it was, is him recording his big screen, like had me up on the screen, like, dude, you, and it was something about appreciating my reaction, like how I made him feel or whatever, which I know that sounds super desensitized, but I can't remember it like verbatim right now. But I was just like, this shit is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
anyway, the reaction that like for me coming up yesterday was a perfect example of what I feel like was full circle. I don't know if recognition's the right word, or just being like, cool, these people actually have heard of me. Like this
Or
is like
accept.
mind blowing. Yeah, like mind blowing to me. So when Father Son's the last one of the three that I think of, Kansas Rebel Man, Captain Kurt, and then Father Son turns around. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Wait, he knows who I am? What?"
Yeah.
Like, and obviously it's one of two people. It's either dad or son. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, I was just like, "Wow, that's cool." It's just, it's a cool community, man. It really is cool to be a part of.
It's a mind-blowing experience, especially like, and even just like on the reaction level too. Like I can imagine like people, because you watch other reactions to kind of learn and see like, how do they do this, why is it so entertaining, how can I make mine entertaining as that, or whatever, or at least that's what I would do if I was a reaction channel. And
Yeah.
and just like in the same, like with music, like with me, like, bro, when my first reaction channel ever, I can't remember, I know Father Son was one of the very first, and I'm pretty sure it was Country Rap Report that got a hold of it. I can't remember which one, but I'm almost positive I want to say it was Country Rap Report. And listening to your music is my therapy, dude. We could literally end the entire video, and that right there would just make my, like, the fact that you just said that, bro, like that. Sorry. That's awesome.
I highlighted it for a reason.
Yeah. Because I can't see the chat right now, so I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
But no, like, see, I'm already discombobulated. Yeah, like when someone reacts to your stuff, you're like, oh man, that's really cool. And then when artists see your stuff, you're like, yo. And or like when, like, for example, so Simba, right? I felt like such a dick. I went to Ryan's show. This is when this was in Nashville, when he performed with Chase and everybody. Chase had allowed me backstage, me and my mom back there. And I don't really talk about this story much because I just don't really talk about it. But I shook hands with Simba, and there's another guy over there, and I didn't know very much about who they were. I couldn't even hear his name when he introduced himself over the music. So I was just like, oh, hey. And Chase is introducing me to all these people to Be Loose and his
That's
manager. And
dope.
it was so fucking dope, right?
That's
And
fucking dope,
I don't
man.
know if they would like remember me because I mean it was all of 5 seconds, but I remember I remember going to the after party and seeing Simba there, and I didn't make the connection that was him. So I'm like, oh hey, and then I'm like, oh hey, and I was like, oh fuck,
That's awesome,
like,
bro.
shit,
That's
Simba.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was like, shit, you're Simba, and he was like, yeah.
He's all chill, like, yeah, it's no big deal. And
He was
meanwhile,
like,
he's like the legend in the reacting game. Like,
yeah. He was all chill, and he was like, hey, let's get a picture, man. I gotta get a picture with you because you're gonna be this, that. And I was like, what do you mean? I gotta get a picture with you. There's one picture on my Instagram where we're just like, yeah, and I'm all sweaty as fuck, and he's just like, it was crazy. And then kind of like the situation that you said with Adam Calhoun when you met him, you wanted to take a picture, but you're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
When I at the after party, I had in comes Ryan. Everybody's already there, and in comes Ryan. I think Chase was talking, and a bunch of people who had paid to be there, like a bunch of fans and stuff. People that like Creeker Cat.
Yeah, meet and greet people. Yeah.
And in comes Ryan, and it's like all these people go to shoot to the corner, and I didn't even know that he came in. My mom was like, Ryan just walked in. Like, why didn't you go introduce yourself? I know you said you would want to hopefully potentially say hello. And I was like, I ain't going in that shit. Are you kidding? I was like,
yeah.
They're
like,
bombarding.
Fuck that, bro.
Yeah, I was like, they're bombarding me. I don't mean
That's
that
exactly the feeling I had towards Adam, especially, but Jelly Roll the same way. Just like,
right.
I can't do that to these guys. They're human beings. Like, what the fuck?
I had that realization, and I couldn't. He went back outside, and then eventually I went back outside with my mom, and we're sitting against the wall. This is when I was talking to Simba, and I was talking to Kansas a little bit, and there was a couple other people. And I'll never forget just watching all this go down, and you could see it in Ryan's eyes. He's just like, his eyes are this big around because he's got all these people talking from all these different angles, and I almost got overwhelmed. And I know I don't want to make that sound like I'm talking poorly on people who wanted to speak with him and are so excited because they see him as such an idol. And I've had people who feel that way, like introducing myself, and a lot of times they just want to tell you their life story because they want you to know that they relate to you.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. But for me, I was like, this is a different level. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go ask for a picture. I'm not going to go do all that. I'm just going to go introduce myself. And when I walked up to him, I don't know if he remembers this, but I thought I was going to be like, oh, starstruck, because, you know, this is Ryan. I was like, no, like, this just seems like somebody from, I don't know, like my hometown, like somebody, you know, I might have been neighbors with or something. And I was like, hey Ryan, I just want to introduce myself. I don't know if you know who I am. And he's like, nah, man, like, you don't have to introduce yourself. Like, I know who you are. He's like, just keep doing you. And I was like, whoa! Like, you know, in my head, but I'm also like, man, that's just, on the other side, it's like, that's crazy, you know? Because we paint these people out to be so high and on a different level. And it's like, we're just people. Like, we're just passionate about certain things. Sure, we're talented in certain, like, I could be an artist and have a lot of people know me, and I could be equally as good as a plumber, but people aren't going to know me as a plumber. They just know me, like, as an artist. And so that we put them on this pedestal. But anyway, I left that event, and it was just kind of like that, man, you know, I thought that was going to be a different feeling, but if anything, it was just like chill. And then I get to the hotel. We stayed in this really shitty Super 8 because it was the only thing that was available. And there was like cigarette burns and all the blankets and shit, and it was just.
I've been at those.
Oh yeah.
You come across plenty of them when you travel for work.
Right. Well, because I had a bunch of stuff to do. Like, I had to go record a song with Joe Tyler. We did a song together. And then I went and met Father Son. And so we go back to the hotel, and I get a text from Creeker Cat, and she sends me a video. And she goes, hey, I didn't know like if you were taking a picture, but I took this video of you meeting Ryan, and I just wanted to share this with you. And I was like, dude, that is so fucking dope. Because like I didn't want to bombard him. I didn't want to take a picture. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want him to make him feel like I'm just another somebody trying to be up his ass or wanting to, Anyway, and
Yeah, use him for clout. Yeah, I get you.
Oh, yeah. And that's another reason like why I try not to. When I first started doing music, I mentioned his name in a lot of my songs because I look to him as like he almost made this genre single-handedly, and I looked, and
people might hate me for that, but 100%, no matter what, including the OGs, he's the one that made country rap what it is, because you had Bubba Sparks, you had Colt Ford, and it was a little bit of a thing, but Church made it normal. Church made it a possibility for everybody else.
He made a different avenue out of it. Like he took it and he went with it. And
the way he documents everything, dude.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like when you can connect with him so well. So he's like how he always says, I'm documenting my life. Like some people might be like, oh, that's arrogance. No, like us that are like real fans, that's probably a big reason why the people who are fans of him are like, dude, he's just so fucking down to earth, is because you see all kinds of shit from him.
That's one thing I've tried to do more of, is to take moments, document them, absorb them, appreciate them. Like I've only done 2 shows my entire life. 2 fucking shows. The first show, I was running out of breath. I was real heavy. And I was a little bit nervous, but I had a fucking blast. And when I tell you, the amount of adrenaline you get from one of those is unlike anything you've ever had before. It is
getting all the energy from everybody.
It's like a drug, dude, and it's insane. And I had that same energy when I had that same energy when I watch reactions, because I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm just like, and anyway, so I try to absorb those moments. Like I'm like, dude, all these people are looking at me, and they're ready for what's next, and they have this anticipation, and it's like I remember when I had that anticipation when it's somebody that I love. So how can I represent that? And it's a surreal feeling. And kind of like with your reaction channel, and I'm sure you feel this way, you're like, I just want to share my love for music. I want to represent my love for music. I want to share with these people a little bit about me in way of the songs that I enjoy, or maybe the songs that I don't enjoy, and that's why I'm going to review them. And I want to add my input, and that's when you just become passionate about something. Like you said earlier today, you were like, I didn't know what I was going to do with my YouTube channel, so I just did it. I just started doing reactions, to kind of build this thing. Then it became what it is now, and something that you love, something that you have fun with, something that you have control of, and that's kind of how it was for music for me too. So I say all that and go on another tangent to say that I can relate to you on that level.
Yeah.
When you meet your idols. Now there's a bunch of other people like I would like to meet, A-Cal being one of them. Definitely Broadnax. Like when
damn right. I'll steal Kansas Rebel Man's quote. Yeah, damn right.
Bro, I'm gonna say this. I had never heard of Broadnax up until I don't even know how I stumbled upon the song, but it was Genghis John. And I can't find the fucking song on Spotify or Apple Music anymore. Like it's only on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. That very well might be.
Yeah. It used to be. Because when I heard that song for the first time, I was like, oh my God, who the fuck is this? I was like, who the fuck is this? I was like, this is amazing.
Dude, like I always call it chopper rap or whatever because I go off of tech. But if you look at him, it's almost like taking a step into he utilizes a fucking stutter.
Right.
Like, it's just dope as fuck, bro.
Like, bruh, he inspired that line where I said, boom, chicka bop bop, buckle bunny hop.
Oh my, me and father son both were like, bruh.
But he inspired that. Like,
you were on fire for that whole like 30-second whatever it was.
Man,
like you were just on fire with them fucking bars.
Thank
man.
you so much, dude. That you're gonna make me start blushing and cheesing here in a minute. But no, like Broadnax, like, bro, I heard Genghis John. And then I kept watching and watching and watching. And this dude has this fucking sound. Like, I could listen to him talk all fucking day, because he just has that. I don't know if it's like a Creole, like Louisiana.
He's got Creole swag.
Yeah,
he got that Bayou swag, bro. And he always said, "Baby."
Yes, I know. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. It's so cool.
I ain't gonna lie, like, maybe not as living, but like Louisiana is like my favorite place to go to. Like the
I've
food,
never been.
the people, just a different. It's amazing.
I've never been. I would love to go out there, but yeah, he inspired that, because he goes, I don't remember the bar. I don't know if it was in Genghis John or if it was in the 16 bar challenge, because they kind of go hand in hand. But
he did a 2.0 too.
Yeah.
And a 44 bar.
Yeah, he could. He could literally, bro. He could cough on a track and it would be fire. I
don't know how the fuck it took this long to find him. Like,
yeah.
Shout out to ACAL, bro. Like, shout out to Adam for giving this guy the motivation, or the whatever you want to call it, like bringing him out and bringing him to us the way he did. Like, I understand he's been rapping forever, but like ACAL's the reason why we were able to find him. Like, that's
absolutely. I 100% agree. Like, Broadnax, I've said since, what song? I can't remember what song it was that I released, but I've said for a while now, like, he's one person I would love to work with. Like, he just sounds like he would be one fun motherfucker. Like, he just would be so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a dude where, and here's another thing about him, like, just from the stuff I've watched from him, I watched like Chad Arms do an interview with him and stuff. Like, he's the one dude where I don't think there's a neighborhood I would go in Louisiana, New Orleans, whatever. Like, I don't think there's a neighborhood I could go to with him that he wouldn't make me feel 100% like at home, protected, like ain't nobody gonna fuck with us. Like, he fits in, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's a dope motherfucker. And
that's
something I can speak to. Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's one person.
I was just gonna say, he I don't know much about his backstory. But I've seen, like, the little bit I've seen, like, there was one video, like, this dude, I guess he pulled over on the side of the road and he was looking at some damn roadkill, and I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. I was like, this is fun. Like, this homeboy country, bro. He country, dude. Like,
he already cooked that shit up like a Louisiana Bayou boy right there. That's one thing I love about Louisiana. You can talk shit on that all you want. People can be like, oh, that's disgusting, whatever. But, bruh, they make some of the best fucking roadkill, like, masterpieces ever.
I don't know.
They can make anything taste good, bro.
Yeah. I can't say, because I don't know if he, like, actually took it with him. But I remember he, like, pulled over and was looking at something. I can't remember. It was forever. It was, like, on his story or something a long time ago. And I busted out laughing. I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever fucking seen in my life, bro. This shit is this dude is country. Like, and it was that. And then he just posted today. He posted something. It was like fam over fame or something like that. And I was just like, wow, like, that just shows his character. So I'm excited for him.
Mark my words, once I get a picture of him that's high res that I like, because I already tried one. It was him on a stage and it looked badass as fuck, like his arms wide open, but the res was way too low to use it. Because by the time I did 8x10, it fucking pixelated to shit. But I wanted to do that, frame it, and have in text over the top. And I forget where I caught it. I caught it somewhere from him, but it was show love, get love. And I've repeated this time and time again in so many scenarios. Somebody was throwing shade on a certain person talking about a situation or whatever, a bigger artist or whatever. And I was like, you know, they were up and coming and whatnot. And I just kind of commented back. I was like, you know, why the hate, bro? Like, show love, get love. And that was, it's not a jab. It's not a, like, I hate you for what you said. Nah, it's just like, I hope that statement can turn around and be like, yeah, man, maybe I should show a little bit more love. I should show respect and that kind of stuff. And it'll come around back, kind of like, you know, like a karma thing. And I will say, I realize that's probably originally from Tupac, I believe is where that came from. But Broadnax said it again, and that's where I caught it.
Yeah.
It's such a good thing to live by there.
I'll say like show love and get love is 100% facts. Is this dog going crazy, man?
No, I'm laughing because Kenny said he's at the bar and he can't have any more. People keep saying, have one for me. Kenny's having a good old time at the bar.
I love Kenny, man. He's great.
Yeah, Kenny's great.
But anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying. Back on that show love, get love, like, especially when you're first coming up, and this is from personal experience, jealousy is a nasty, nasty, nasty evil. 100%. Like, it will make you think things and say things and do things that are out of character.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. When I first started coming out, I got really jealous of certain artists who I felt like in my mind, I felt like, man, I don't feel like they deserve that. I don't feel like they deserve that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I had to put my chill. It's okay. Okay. He's gonna start going crazy. And then is it Jay? Preach. Then I started to have to put myself in check, and I had to consider. I was like, okay, if that person doesn't deserve it, why do you deserve it? Truthfully, why do you think that you should have something like that? Is it because of how hard you're working? Because if that's the case, you're clearly not working hard enough. Is it because, you know, you've been doing it longer than they have? Well, if you've been doing it longer than they have and they seem to be the one who's coming up, then there's something you're missing. So it's like that consistently putting myself in check, and that has been something that I've carried with me going forward. Because you can point your finger in someone's face and there's 3 back pointing right back at you.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And that's a big thing where I feel like beef comes into, like, when all these rappers getting all this beef, they're like, you said this, and it's like, whoa, you said this, and then you go back and forth, and it's like, okay, we all fucking said something. Shut the fuck up and do something about it. You know?
I'll bring Vic's statement up because Vic's one of the ones that talks against this, and this is nothing against him by any means at all. I respect him a lot, but nonetheless, that's maybe not so much for reactions, but just for me as a listener. Like, I absolutely love the diss tracks and the back and forth, as long as it's old school, like tradition, you know, minus the shooting each other at the end. But you know, I'm all here for it, you know. But
that's just rap. Like, that's true
battle rap, the back and forth, the okay, you're gonna come at me, I'm gonna show you I'm better, I'm gonna go bar for bar, kind of like watching Conceited with battle rap or something like that. Like, I'm all for it, bro. Like, I think I talked about it in my live react earlier. Conceited in his double entendre, triple entendre, quadruple, and so on and so forth. Like, that's probably my favorite part of rap poetry.
Yeah.
is entendres. Like when it's like, wait, it means this. Wait, no, it means this. No, it means
Exactly.
like, god damn, dude.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, you'll get me with that shit every time. Like,
well, that's one thing like I'll
there's a
say
talent to
about
that.
yeah. I mean that's classic rap. That's what people I heard this thing, I can't remember where I heard it from. But me and my dad were talking about like how music is developing and where it's going and he was asking me questions about how all the stuff works. And we came upon this video and this he was showing me something and the guy said in the video, he goes, you can talk about all the good news you want, but nobody wants good news. They want the bad news. They want to hear what's the drama. They want to hear all the crazy shit. And
drama attracts people way more than positive, which is crazy to me.
Everybody wants
does me too, but I just don't understand the genetics of it.
It does it to me too. I mean, shit, when all bruh. Diss tracks are hilarious. You love going in and you're like, oh man, he said this. What are you gonna say now? And, it gets crazy. But I'll say this from a personal standpoint. I am not the kind of person who's gonna directly. I'm gonna go out and say like, yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna diss you, and I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to diss me first, I might consider doing it. I might consider. It depends on what they say. Most of the time, I'm staying in my own lane. I don't really give a fuck about what everybody else has got going on anywhere. But yeah, do something about it. Yeah, it's but I also know that my goal with this music is not to put anybody down. My goal in this music is to bring other people up and bring people together. But however, I don't work with a whole lot of people because I know how easily people will fuck you over. So it's like this weird balance of like, I want to bring other people together, but I also need to stay in my own lane until we get to a point where I feel like people are willing to do that. So a diss track, if I were to ever do a diss track, it would have to be somebody's coming for me first, dog. And if they do, that's all I'm going to say. If they do want to come for me,
for real,
I'd be scared.
The only thing I'll say, and this doesn't have to do with the lyrical, because I'm more than confident in your lyrical abilities. Yeah. Is just know your target.
Right.
Know what they're capable of and know where it's going to go. As long as it stays in the music, that's great.
Right. Absolutely. That's why some of these dishes you'll hear and it's like really like you're pulling for some shit like that. Like you're pulling to try and make fun of some dumb shit. But at the end of the day, like rap, this is what it is. Like even do something different. Look at me quoting Kenny. Even in something different. Like rap is we're all talking our shit. We all think we're the best. We gotta talk our shit. We gotta do this. It's what people love to hear. That's what they want to hear. And so, but you get into diss tracks, it's like it can get so messy and so detached from what the music really is. And so, I'm not gonna be the first one to put out some diss, but if somebody wants to diss me, like, let's go, dog. I'll do it, and I'll do it by myself. But until that happens, I'm gonna stay in my own lane. I'm gonna do my own thing. So, y'all are troopers. We drove an hour away, and y'all are still going. Hanging out, dude. We're really just hanging out.
Yeah, for real, dude. And that's what I've loved about this interview, or this hangout, is being able to just BS with you. And we might get to our lows where we're just BSing whatever, but then it gets to, I bring something out of you where you're talking about a whole thing. So, like, Kurt, I will say this: I did cover what you asked earlier, and it was a planned question for me anyway, but I did ask what got her into rap, and you'd absolutely love hearing what she had to say about that. Probably going to end up clipping it later, but she did a really good job of kind of getting into it, which was awesome. So
pass the test, boy.
Well, it's just, it's when you want to be natural and when you don't want to be planned and come up with like a whatever,
Yeah.
you just want to BS, like that's when you get the most natural responses and you get the most like honest, like in-depth you type connecting with the artist type shit. And that's like, you did it perfectly. Like you just, you were feeling it and you were, yeah. Like I was just sitting here the whole time. I'm like, she's on it right now. Like this is awesome. Like this is incredible. So
that's really cool, man.
It's fun to hear people really talk about themselves and feel comfortable in a situation where they open up like that. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. Like I don't normally open up about that kind of stuff unless I feel comfortable. So this channel is definitely a safe space. And for anybody watching, like please continue to watch this channel. And I'll say this,
appreciate you for that.
Oh yeah. I'll say this too, like I'm glad it kind of makes me feel good that I was able to word that because I'm really ADHD. So trying to tell a story or a joke, like sometimes I'll fuck it up and I'll go on a tangent or I'll mess up the timeline. And so that's cool to hear. For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there any other questions that
I don't know that I have any other like burning questions. Like we've covered a lot of good stuff. We even got into covering, some of the artists that you admire and stuff like that, which I have a lot of respect for. Like I'll tell you right now, like I'd go out of my way to try to set something up for you and Broadnax. I'm not saying I got any connections or nothing, but I'd be the random dude, be like, Broadnax, do a song with her.
Like that would be that's I really appreciate that. That's super dope that you would offer that. If like you say, hey, if I had the capability, it would happen. Lord Jesus.
He took a pretty good skimper over there. I think he got scared by your other puppy.
He's so scared. She's scared of everything. He's like, oh shit to everything. Like you can like you can literally step like right next to him and he's like, oh fuck, and he's like it's like you just dropped a landmine like right next. He's fucking dude. He's so scared of everything. Anyway, but what I was saying was like, what was I saying? Shit. I scared the shit out of me.
Talking about relating with Broadnax and stuff like that.
Like, that
kind of stuff.
I'm the kind of person like, and I said this in my live stream a little bit about Ryan. Like, I see these bigger artists. Like I value the kind of work that they do, but I would never want to be the kind of person because I know all day, every day, because I even get some of it. Hey, will you check out my song? Will you do a song with me? Will you do this with me? Will you, and I get that mentality because you want it to get noticed too. But it's like at some point you got to stop relying on these other artists to make your career for you, and you got to have confidence in what you're doing. And that's why I don't mention Ryan's name in any more of my songs because I don't want to be misconstrued as someone who's trying to capitalize.
Ride coattails,
yeah. Yeah, amongst all the other motherfuckers who are doing that.
Yeah. I mean, in a slightly similar way, I can kind of understand that. I mean, even getting to the small level I'm at, like once in a while I'll get messages or whatever, and I'm just like, yes, but like at a certain level, it's going to be like, I'm going to feel bad, but it's like, I can only imagine if I'm getting a few here or there now, like you get Kurt's level, you get hell Simba's level, and it's like nonstop inundating all the time. Like, so
I can only imagine a reaction channel, dude. Like, hey, react to this. Hey, react to this. And also this and this. And it's like, fuck an A, dude. Leave me alone. I will react to what I want to react to. But then you also have this other stuff where it's like, I don't want to push people off and make them feel like I don't give a shit. But at some point, I got to start giving a shit about what I'm doing and what I want to do and what I desire,
Yeah.
And like, I can't imagine being a reactor. Like, as many people, like, hey, like, my buddy just put out a song. Will you put this on your channel? Or like, I can't imagine. You should do a song with Ken Reacts. Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
He already put you all on blast.
We've been talking back and forth about doing something. We haven't really set anything in stone yet, but it's definitely in the era and way of like, we need to get it done. And now that this album is dropped, I've got a couple more things I'm working on, but I want to start opening up myself to doing more features with people and broadening my catalog and way of like working with other artists. But I'm just really, I'm the kind of person I learn from watching other people make mistakes, and I try to do not make those mistakes. So I try to learn lessons from that. And so I've seen too much of what Ryan has been through with some of these motherfuckers, and I've seen too much of like what other people have just, and even stories of that they've told me personally. It's just, you want to believe that everybody's genuine. You want to believe that everybody has good intentions, and then they fuck you over that way, and it's just mind blowing. And it's like, okay, well now who the hell do I trust at all? You know?
Yeah, I won't speak too much on it because I've debated mentioning or doing a video on this anyway, which I think I eventually will do a video on this. But I don't know if you've seen the whole thing with JJ Lawhorn, and Kansas actually covered it, but talking about kind of some of the situations within the music scene and seeing who people really are, kind of like what you're talking about. But
I haven't. I'm ashamed to say, like, I need to do more research in my genre, but I'm also at this level where it's like I don't have time to.
Right.
Like,
and if you remember, if you're curious, I'll tell you privately. But I might end up actually covering it in the future.
There you go.
Just trying to figure out how to address it, because I don't want to get too much to be a drama channel either. You know what I mean? But it's at the same time, we think differently. So
cover something.
You know,
if you're invested in something, like your heart's invested in it, and you're like, God, I gotta talk about this. Talk about it. Like, I never tell people, like, some people would just run their mouth about shit they know nothing about. But like, like, for example, like, I want to post this video, like, you want to post that video and talk about what, I want to talk about this fucking Instagram bullshit. Why the fuck is the explore page covered in sex, dude? Like, I don't want to see that. My little sister uses the same fucking social media platforms, and she's 12 years old, and I swear to God, I will hurt anybody if she is exposed to that kind of stuff at her age.
If Instagram or if Meta, the parent company, actually responded to that, if I had to bet, their response would be, oh, well, we have age restrictions. We have this, we have that. Yeah, well, your algorithm's still going nutso, and guarantee you, if the kids are anything like me, they over there on 18 and up accounts.
Exactly. I posted back when I was doing a lot more like outdoor stuff and like my YouTube channel, I posted some pictures like hunting, and they will take that down in 10 fucking seconds. They will take that shit down. But you put someone's booty crack, okay, literally someone's ass holding a taco in between their fucking cheeks, and that's on the fucking internet, and that's what's being pushed.
Oh, I just laugh how YouTube even censors me on, well, I shouldn't say censors, but you automatically get that, oh, we're holding, you're limited on advertisements. Yeah, you're limited on advertisements because of your content. The title was House of Torture, which was about a news story of something that happened in Oklahoma. It wasn't even showing anything. It was just talking about what happened.
It's awful. And then they do that.
But yet, like you said, you get your, it's a hunting picture, which is natural and not promoting violence.
Yeah.
And
well, people get so, there's such an agenda that's behind it all. There's such a, like, I mean, sex sells, and now Instagram, that's all that it is. Like, I mean, and this is bold shit. I'm like, you thought,
I'm glad I don't go on the explore page.
You don't, I'm terrified to go. Will never go on it again. It's filthy. It's disgusting. And look, I got friends who are in that industry. I got people I know on a personal level who are in that industry, and that's cool. Word, I support you because I love you as a person. But it's like Instagram, the explore page is on a whole nother fucking level. This isn't just a bikini.
And it's also sad that obviously your account is tagged as a female account, and you're still getting inundated with that.
I can't imagine as a dude.
Yeah, like, bruh, I could only imagine like underage boys and shit like that are probably getting inundated with this. Imagine trying to go through puberty and shit. Like, good God.
My little sister loves to watch YouTube. She loves to watch YouTube. She is insanely creative. She loves Minecraft. She loves Zelda. She likes all this other stuff. And I appreciate you, Deacon. I appreciate you, man. That's awesome. But anyway, she is about to turn 12. And like I said, it is scary, some of the shit. Like, I'll be sitting in the room and I'll hear a video going. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what are you watching? And she's like, oh, this is my favorite YouTuber. He does this. I was like, not anymore. Turn that shit off. I said, you are not watching that. And like, and there's like, it's just really heartbreaking to see that like we're okay with it, and there's no more censorship anymore, or whatever censored is shit that has an agenda, and it's censored not because it's protecting, but it's anyway. I can make a whole video about it, just like I'm sure we can sit here and talk about it all day. But it's right. I really want to talk about that because I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with how easily this shit is being accessed. How easily these kids, I mean, dude, I didn't know about that stuff until I was in high school and we had health class, right? And then even there, it's really uncomfortable to talk about, learn about, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason a third grader should know what that shit is. When I was in third grade, I was concerned about what t-shirt I was going to wear. When I was in sixth grade, I was worried if my Converse matched my hoodie. And like, I didn't, you know what I mean? And so it's crazy. It's crazy to me. I need to stop going on a tangent because I'll get pissed off. But,
but I feel you. I do. It's a mess, dude. It really is. Just try to think of probably get to like a wrap up topic, but I'm trying to think of what we haven't covered.
I feel like on these kinds of videos that we talk about so much. It's like, oh man, I forgot. We were asking questions. Shit, we were just up here talking.
Right. Well, no, yeah, and we were just up here talking 90% of it or 99% of it, to be honest. But and that's the best type. But I just feel like because I never ask any questions. I just bullshit up here. But I'm just like, is there another one? Chat, you guys got any questions for Jessie? You go right ahead.
I'll be happy to answer.
Throw a couple in there.
No, you can't have my social, but if there's any
other but yeah, so I just can't, like, I get not traveling much, but that's one, like, I think back to, like, when I'm thinking about questions I want to ask you, and it's like we talked about, you went back and forth between Carolina, but you just really didn't travel much. And I'm like, boy, that's going to be one hell of an adventure for you as you get out and do.
It's crazy because like I've been on the road for a lot of my life, not like traveling, but just going back and forth between my mom and my dad's.
To
the point where it's like I can't drive more than like 4 hours, 3 hours without falling asleep or getting real tired because I am accustomed to like, oh, we're going to dad's, like, we're going to sleep in the backseat. And so it's gonna be different to be going and traveling and meeting all these people and like seeing all these different areas and like I can't help but think of like all the people I'm gonna get to meet and to hear their stories, because like what I was telling you is like a lot of these people, when they meet you, they want to tell you their whole life story. A lot of like you would think, oh, like when I met Jessie B,
that's probably one of the most amazing parts.
Yeah, you would think, oh, I met Jessie B, or I met Ryan, or I met Broadnax, and he told me this crazy story about his life. And it's like, most of the time, we're just sitting here listening to whatever you have to say and whatever you want to share with me. I'll be amazed if I get a word in. And it's not even about getting a word in. It really is because you represent, as an artist, you represent so much to these people, and they just want to pay homage to that, and they want you to understand how they relate to you. So they will tell you their life story, and you just, some people take advantage of it, and they're like, all right, dude, I don't have time to hear about this shit. Other people, how did you get so dope? I don't know, man. I think it was all them Smarties I was snorting in middle school, man. I'm just kidding. You know how you like
that was perfect. That was perfect.
We used to do that shit all the time.
But I will say this. I think this is a perfect wrap-up question.
Yeah.
Your friend Jay brought up. What's next? That's the ultimate question.
So I'll share a little bit, but I can't share too much.
Right. I mean,
Something,
keep your
yeah, something different. And I talked a little bit about this in my live stream with when I was reacting to Father Son's video. Music is going in a different direction, and I have a whole thing planned out, but it starts with something different. Something different was the first stepping stone to that. And I've taken this past 2 days since it dropped to really consider what's next. You know, a lot of people have been telling me like, yeah, man, just sit back and enjoy like all your hard work. And I was like, no, dude, this is the time to be putting in the work. Like this, I don't need to be sitting on my ass for nothing. Like I need to go take this energy and run with it. And so to answer that question, what's next? There's a couple of projects in mind, but really pay attention to something different and everything coming forward will make sense. And I mean really pay attention because there's a lot of innuendos that you'll miss in the next couple of projects. And it blows my mind. I get goosebumps when I talk about the details. And I've shared it with a couple of people and Jay knows. But this is gonna be really awesome. And I'll leave it at that. But just really, if you want to know what's next, pay attention to something different. Learn the details. Just pay attention.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. And that should be the perfect spot to leave it, but I have one little side question after that. The one thing that I thought of is quite a few artists. I know Church has always talked about it. I want to say Coca or like Just Trey. Yeah. Some of the other guys have talked about having this music that they haven't released.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have this like massive catalog of stuff that you're either being a perfectionist about or like, oh, I need to whatever, you know, for whatever reason you haven't released it? Are you kind of building that collection up?
Dude, I could probably, if I dropped one big project every couple of weeks, I'd probably be set for the rest of the year. Like,
wow.
I have a lot of stuff, but I try to plan it around, like, I'll tell you this, I haven't told anybody this. Something Different was supposed to be a completely fucking different project. This was supposed to be an extremely emotional album at first. And if you go back on Captain Kirk stuff, you'll see where I talk about it. I was like, this is supposed to be an emotional thing. And then I got ready to release it, and I was like, dude, I can't fucking do that. It's literally summer. Ain't nobody want to hear no depressing ass shit. They want to hear that fire fucking, you know, rap. This is my debut album. I gotta serve.
Which, I mean, you picked. That was an amazing project that you did there. Amazing song that you did there.
I really
the video, the lyrics, it was just it was the complete package right there.
There's a lot of things, and I'll talk about it because I've got a behind the scenes video coming up. Hopefully, I'll get it out either tomorrow or the next day. But there's just a lot of things that happen with this video that I think will shock a lot of people. But this album completely switched. I switched everything almost last minute because I was like, I got to do this right. And so all those projects, I'm sitting on a lot of stuff right now, and a lot of stuff is nothing like what I'm doing right now. I think what I'm doing right now, getting more into this aggressive rap, people are loving it. There's more where that came from, but there's also some stuff that you're going to be like, what? You know, like, so, because it blows my mind. I've never been the kind of person who listens to my music on repeat, but there's a couple of these songs where I listen to it because I genuinely like the song, and it's like, so to answer that question, I got a lot of stuff. I do have a catalog of stuff, but I'm trying to time this right. You know, I want the aggressive stuff out now, and then come towards the end of the year, it's winding down, it's getting colder. You know, release it with the times. Release the stuff, the more emotional stuff towards the end of the year, and who knows, I might have enough to develop another album before it's done with this year, and like there's just a lot. There's a lot. But I have all these ideas. It's really just about narrowing it down and having a plan. So, but yeah, big catalog. I've never had that question asked. So, yeah, last minute is a fucking understatement, dude. I almost want to tell you I almost want to tell you it, like what happened, but I want everybody to watch the behind the scenes video because you're gonna be like, are you fucking serious? Like, this shit was planned, and then some stuff happened, and then it was like last minute, everything changed, something different, but I'll talk about that in the video. And it just turned out so fucking stellar. And I swear to God, like, if anybody's listening, this is the biggest lesson I learned from this entire album, and that's just go with your gut. Go with your gut in everything you do, every decision you make, whether it be your career, relationships, work, anything, your health, whatever. Go with your gut, no pun intended. Just trust your intention. Or intuition, excuse me.
Intuition, yeah.
Intuition,
that's awesome.
ADHD. But yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. That's, I mean, like I said, your last song that you dropped, I'll get the production done and drop it as soon as it's ready. But that was absolutely fire, man. What were you saying? Sorry.
I think the next project is going to be a lot sooner than everyone thinks. But I'm
just gonna start turning it up to Upchurch level and dropping 3 a year. Called it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Jesse. I really am.
Me too.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Oh yeah.
But
dude, I know you're gonna do your outro thing, but I just wanted to say thank you for this platform, what you're doing, man. Like I've said since I first found your channel, when I shared the video and you reacted to my stuff, like you bring a different perspective, you bring information, you bring facts, and that's something that Reaction Channel needs. So I just appreciate you doing what you're doing. I appreciate you taking the time to look into my music and to share it with other people. And you know, I'm really excited to see how far you go. So,
that means a whole lot to me coming from an artist like you. Like that's when I have artists come out and say how much they appreciate that. That means the world to me. It really does, because it's not something that I ever seen as a potential with this channel. So
yeah,
I appreciate that. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in. As I said, Jesse, if you want to stick around for a second once we wrap up here, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. Those that came in, left, came back. It's been a nice long interview, hangout, whatever you want to call it, but it's been dope. And yeah, I really, really appreciate all that. Coca's got a great one to wrap it up with. But
thanks, Coca.
Appreciate you coming back, Coca. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all being here. Jesse, I appreciate you doing this hangout with me. I hope we can do more in the future. Any ideas that you have, I'm more than open to it. And yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace
out.